Cursing under his breath, he shivers against the biting cold, wondering what the hell is going on and why they are relentlessly pursuing him. Running away might be your best option, she taunts, adding that it would have been easier for everyone if he had just died quietly, addressing him mockingly as Master Jo Baek-hoon. Baek-hoon wonders where it all went wrong, regretting the fateful bet that trapped him inside the body of a game character. Skeptical, he wonders if this wager will actually make him rich, having never seen anyone initiate a bet in the veteran chat room before. With a heavy sigh, he recalls finally beating the game playing as Baek-hoon, yet wonders where all the other players vanished to. In Heroes Road, dimensional portals suddenly opened, flooding the world with terrifying monsters from foreign realms. Set in the modern era, players command elite hunters to battle these beasts, a premise that captured massive attention upon launch. Featuring rich lore, dark fantasy themes, and 5 playable characters, this single-player game instantly became an absolute sensation. Yet the hype faded fast, because a full year after release, the total number of players who had actually cleared it remained at absolute zero. All 5 playable characters died far too easily, and dying meant losing everything to start again from square one. With an infernal difficulty spikes and a microscopic overall completion rate of 0.1%, the game collapsed, especially since almost all clears belonged strictly to the default protagonist, An Chang-woo. Nobody could beat the game with the remaining roster. In fact, exactly one solitary player ever cleared it using Jo Baek-hoon. And that legendary player was none other than our protagonist. A system window pops up, strictly granting entry only to those who have previously conquered the path of heroes. He remembers when over 10 veteran players frequented the lobby, wondering if everyone abandoned the game or started a new group chat without him. A faint sting of loneliness hits him as he considers that possibility. Suddenly, a notification announces that Supreme Lorx has entered the room. Recognizing the room administrator, he watches in confusion as Lorx wonders out loud if anyone remains, claiming he had already kicked everyone else out. When asked where everyone went, Supreme Lorx mutters that this is unexpected, but promises to honor his word regardless. Lorx proposes a wager, promising to grant any single wish if he can clear the game following a specific challenge route. Half joking, he wonders if he could ask for unlimited wealth and handsome looks, but when he asks about the penalty for failure, Lorx simply tells him to worry about failing when it happens. Sensing something deeply suspicious about the lack of penalties, he hesitates just as Supreme Lorx asks if he has ever fully cleared the game before. He stops himself from blurting out the truth, worried Lorx might leak his achievement before he gets a chance to flex it properly. They say hardcore gamers naturally turn into clout chasers over time, and he realizes this might be his final shot at total bragging rights. Determined, he resolves not to let this opportunity slip through his fingers. He lies to Supreme Lorx, claiming he cleared the game with every single character except Jo Baek-hoon, only for Lorx to briefly question it before telling him to disregard it. Remarking that nobody would be insane enough to beat the game with every character, Lorx asks one final time if he accepts the bet. Despite his lingering suspicions, he figures he has nothing to lose and officially accepts the wager. Supreme Lorx praises him as the absolute best player remaining, while he proudly notes that he did, in fact, just clear the final character route. Suddenly, a wave of intense vertigo washes over him, making his head spin. A eerie voice echoes, declaring that this is no longer a game, it will become his absolute reality from this moment on. You brought this upon yourself by making your choice. Disoriented, he awakens in unfamiliar surroundings, shocked to find his hair suddenly flowing past his shoulders. An unfamiliar man approaches, addressing him as Master Baek-hoon, introducing himself as Sim Bo-yoon while our hero wonders if he is trapped in a dream. Perplexed as to why he is staring directly at an NPC, Bo-yoon gives him a strange look and asks if they were not supposed to train today. Realizing Bo-yoon's dialogue mirrors the game word for word, Baek-hoon pales as his instructor apologizes, warning that today's training will be lethal because his eldest brother wants him dead. With a chilling smile, Bo-yoon notes he aimed directly for his heart, surprised his weak body managed to twist away, proving the blood of the Sword Saint still runs in his veins. Declaring that Baek-hoon is an embarrassment to the clan, Bo-yoon promises to end his life painlessly as a final courtesy from a devoted master. Baek-hoon panics as reality sets in. This is no longer a simulation or a dream, he is truly fighting for his life. Shaking off the terror, he forces himself to stay calm, knowing a single mistake means instant death. The agonizing pain of fresh blood dripping down his arm is proof enough that this nightmare is entirely real. Trying to make sense of the madness, he connects his long hair and Bo-yoon's murderous pursuit to the game's opening script. Realizing he has transmigrated into Jo Baek-hoon, he knows he must rely on his endless playthroughs to survive this encounter. He desperately searches his memories for the exact sequence of events that triggers the start of Baek-hoon's story arc. Sim Bo-yoon barks orders at his men to pursue the fleeing target. Flashing back to the chase, the traitor shouts that running will change nothing, and dying quietly would have saved everyone the trouble. While Baek-hoon stalls for time, Bo-yoon promises he won't be lonely in the afterlife, as his loyal servant Choi Sung-min will soon join him in death. As the traitor asks for his final words, Baek-hoon notices the surrounding blizzard howling with unnatural fury. With a smirk, Baek-hoon delivers his final words, telling his former master to go straight to hell. A pack of vicious ice wolves rushes in, drawn by the noise, instantly tearing through Bo-yoon's men while Baek-hoon watches the chaos unfold. Bo-yoon dismisses his dying subordinates as useless, annoyed that he has to waste time clearing out these pesky ice wolves. However, by the time Bo-yoon readies his weapon, Jo Baek-hoon has already slipped away into the snowstorm. Clutching his bleeding side, Baek-hoon groans in agony, wondering if he prepared his makeshift herbal poultice incorrectly. A system window informs him that despite lacking formal mastery, his knowledge of medicine allowed him to craft a unique healing ointment. The salve accelerates his healing and temporarily grants him high resistance against the freezing cold. As his wound knit together, he sighs in relief, confident in his memory of Baek-hoon's route after spending 2 grueling years conquering it. He recalls that the Sword Saint clan resides on Mount Seorak in Korea, founded by the legendary martial god who quelled the ancient gate calamity. Though the martial god vanished shortly after, his legacy endured. Using his ancient manuals, the Sword Saint clan rose to supreme power, and Baek-hoon was born as one of 5 young lords vying for succession. Living the game is infinitely harder than playing it, but his medicinal salve successfully saved him from freezing and bleeding out. With the ointment lasting only 30 minutes, every choice he makes will dictate whether he lives or dies. Confirming the hero's road system is active, he opens his status window, finding exactly what he anticipated. His stats are abysmal, making him a walking corpse, especially since Baek-hoon's route begins with a near-fatal injury. The situation is bleak, a single mistake or stray bloodstain will allow pursuers to track and slaughter him. The Ice Wolves bought him precious time, but Sim Bo-yoon possesses a tracking artifact that makes discovery inevitable. Struggling to his feet, he laments his terrible combat skills and complete lack of equipment. Desperately brainstorming how to survive Baek-hoon's notoriously brutal starting scenario, a single path comes to mind. His only salvation lies deep within the treacherous labyrinth forest. Meanwhile, Bo-yoon checks his tracking compass, swearing furiously that he will personally execute the young master this time. When a subordinate notes the trail leads into the labyrinth forest, Bo-yoon orders his mercenaries to prepare to risk their lives. Bo-yoon knows he must present Baek-hoon's head to Jo Tae-ran to secure his promised high position. In the world of Heroes Road, vicious monsters are humanity's primary threat, kept at bay exclusively by registered hunters. Raid difficulty scales dramatically based on the gate type and the specific tier of monsters emerging from within. Yet Mount Seorak is an absolute death zone that all hunters avoid, as monsters have constructed their own brutal ecosystem here. The treacherous terrain paired with feral beasts turns the region into an unnavigable wasteland. Naturally, the weak and frail Jo Baek-hoon had no business stepping foot onto Mount Seorak without an elite escort. So how did the young master end up stranded in such a deadly place? Sim Bo-yoon had been Baek-hoon's instructor since childhood, but secretly pledged allegiance to his rival siblings. Taking advantage of the other young lord's absence, Bo-yoon received secret orders to assassinate Baek-hoon. Luring him deep into Mount Seorak, the tutorial objective requires the player to survive the frozen wilderness and return home. That is the standard strategy for navigating the opening chapter of Baek-hoon's storyline. However, our protagonist intentionally avoids making an immediate return to the Sword Saint clan. He knows Mount Seorak hides an undiscovered secret, a hidden opportunity buried deep within the labyrinth forest. Reaching an ancient tombstone, he reads an inscription warning those lacking true courage and cold serenity to turn back. Behind him, Bo-yoon's subordinate nervously hesitates, reminding her comrades that countless warriors entered this forest only to perish. Bo-yoon reassures her, stating they must confirm Baek-hoon's corpse, and reminding her that Jo Tae-ran's tracking compass will keep them safe. Still, Bo-yoon feels uneasy, baffled by how the cowardly Baek-hoon suddenly displays such decisive bravery. Examining fresh tracks in the snow, Bo-yoon concludes their target passed through moments ago. Knowing the wounded prince cannot have traveled far, he orders a rapid push to execute him immediately. Bo-yoon signals his group to hold, but a mercenary points out they have been walking in circles. When questioned about the path, Sim Bo-yoon harshly reminds her that they are inside the labyrinth forest. Here, illusion magic distorts perception, making it impossible to distinguish forward progress from endless looping. He points to a frozen corpse, noting the poor soul likely wandered in circles thousands of times before starving. Such is the lethal reality of this enchanted maze. He warns everyone to stay on high alert unless they wish to share the same gruesome fate. Far ahead, a severely exhausted Jo Baek-hoon feels his body giving out. He marvels at the potency of his medicinal brew, which is the only thing keeping him breathing. Yet his instincts scream that death remains a very real possibility. He curses Supreme Lorks for tricking him into this terrifying life-or-death scenario without warning. Though thoroughly deceived, he accepts that he ultimately agreed to the terms. Irony strikes him as he remembers that he lied about his clear record as well. Shaking from physical exhaustion, he pushes forward, knowing his destination must be nearby. A triumphant smile breaks across his face as he discovers the true exit of the maze. Where normal players saw only sheer cliffs, his encyclopedic game knowledge reveals the secret path. From this point onward, absolute precision is required. Hearing footsteps, he turns to see Sim Bo-yoon emerge, mocking how far the weakling managed to run. Bo-yoon chuckles, noting that running blindly only brought him to the edge of a dead-end cliff. Baek-hoon feigns betrayal, asking if his trusted instructor truly became Jo Tae-ran's lapdog. Bo-yoon sneers, asking if it took him this long to realize the truth. He proudly confirms his allegiance to Tae-ran, claiming only true power deserves to rule the Sword Saint clan. Baek-hoon keeps his composure, confirming that Bo-yoon's dialogue matches the original timeline. With the game script fully verified, he knows wasting any more time standing at the cliff's edge will be fatal. His condition deteriorates rapidly, severe blood loss threatening to claim his life before frostbite does. Sim Bo-yoon draws his blade, declaring that this conversation has dragged on long enough. Offering a swift execution as his final mercy, the traitor prepares to strike. Baek-hoon stands tall, thanking him sarcastically while offering a parting secret of his own. Pointing at the compass around Bo-yoon's neck, Baek-hoon grins and reveals it was a single-use item before jumping off the cliff. Peer over the edge, Bo-yoon assumes the plunge was fatal, deciding to report the young lord's death to Tae-ran without retrieving the body. Panic sets in as Bo-yoon attempts to activate the tracking compass to guide them back, only to realize Baek-hoon was telling the truth. Snarls echo through the mist as bloodthirsty beasts surround the trapped mercenaries. Meanwhile, having landed safely in a hidden cavern below, Baek-hoon grabs an ancient relic to heal. A celestial notification announces that the Book of the Martial God has verified his qualifications. His direct bloodline to the martial god is successfully authenticated. Scanning his physical vessel, the system notes a body completely lacking natural talent. System protocols forcefully awaken the dormant blood of the martial god within him. An ancient spectral voice speaks, addressing whichever unknown descendant opened the sacred tome he spent a lifetime recording. The martial god reveals the book will continuously document every new martial art created across the world. Accepting the founder's plea to use the power righteously, Baek-hoon smiles and vows to do so. Unique ability unlocked. You have acquired the legendary Book of the Martial God. Trait acquired. You have successfully obtained the celestial martial physique. Your physical vessel automatically rewires itself to accommodate supreme martial talent. All baseline attributes have significantly increased. Inspecting his fully restored body, Baek-hoon notes his overall power rank skyrocketed. Securing an S-tier unique ability and trait, he explains that Hero's Road features no traditional leveling system. Instead, every ounce of strength is earned through skill mastery, traits, and pure effort. Jo Baek-hoon's character arc is notorious for being the most brutal storyline in the game. Yet obtaining these game-breaking unique traits early on makes the impossible route manageable. Reviewing his menu, he confirms the Book of the Martial God and S-rank Celestial Martial Physique are equipped. Risking death at the cliff was worth securing this specific physique above all else. The Celestial Martial Physique grants divine combat reflexes and vastly accelerates skill learning speed. It additionally amplifies the destructive output of all utilized martial techniques. This trait drastically boosts stat growth, skill mastery, and occasionally unlocks hidden combat moves. It is an overwhelmingly broken ability that changes the entire trajectory of his growth. With this foundation, scaling his power will become infinitely easier. Next, he turns his attention to his unique ability, the Book of the Martial God. Penned by the martial deity himself, the ancient tome records supreme martial arts. Every martial art in existence or newly created is automatically archived within its pages. By spending earned system points, the user can instantly learn any archive technique. Unique abilities are exclusive powers bound strictly to a single individual. Uncopiable and uninheritable, it allows him to learn virtually any fighting technique in the world. Whether traditional martial arts or supernatural combat forms, as long as it causes damage, it can be acquired. Though pure magic and alchemy are excluded, his current point balance lets him browse the skill shop immediately. Available system points, 100. A new quest notification blinks on his screen. Basic options like sword charge and thrust appear in the repository. Even exotic moves like the spear technique of the Rapalda Principality are listed. He passes on offensive sword skills, knowing combat in his current fragile state is suicidal. Instead, he prioritizes a movement technique designed to lighten the body and boost reaction speed. Baek-hoon recognizes that mobility skills are essential for both fighting and fleeing, offering endless utility. With his direction clear, he turns to select his starting quest. The menu presents Quest 1, Catch Me If You Can, and Quest 2, Ancestral Forgiveness. Knowing Catch Me If You Can completes automatically over time, he skips it to target a better reward. Laughing at the absurd quest titles, he watches a hidden stone door slide open to his left. Accepting this path reveals a secret maze leading directly to the ultimate early-game rewards of the Martial God's tomb. Walking down the secret passage, he wonders if Sim Bo-yoon survived the Ice Wolves. Even if Baek-hoon fled, escaping the labyrinth forest alive is no small feat. Meanwhile, Baek-hoon audits his loot. He collects sungrass, fire spirit grass, and fire ginseng, needing only the final chest to clear the area. Opening it, he receives the legendary thousand-year snow ginseng and the treasure keeper's pouch. A system alert confirms all secrets within the tomb have been successfully claimed. Quest completed. Rewards granted. 500 system points in the Black Demon robe. With its purpose fulfilled, the tomb begins to collapse, teleporting him safely back to the surface. Smirking at his loot, he chuckles at the classic trope of finding hidden treasures beneath a cliff. Though a martial fantasy cliché, hiding divine inheritances in absurd labyrinths remains effective. He accepts that greater hardship yields greater rewards, silently thanking the martial god for the fortune. Equipping the Black Demon robe, he admires its master craftsmanship and extreme durability. Special option activated, demonic appearance. Secondary option, environmental adaptability. Demonic appearance drastically boosts physical defense while regenerating damaged fabric. Adaptability adjusts to extreme climates, maximizing the wearer's physical output. Hours later, at the main entrance outpost of the Sword Saint clan, guards pass the time. One guard calls out that the hot ramen is finally ready. Absorbed in his handheld video game, the second guard sighs after losing his match. Muttering about the game's difficult attack patterns, he sets his controller down. Glancing toward the entrance, he spots a staggering figure, realizing it is young master Jo Baek-hoon. Exhausted, Baek-hoon collapses, barely raspy voice ordering them to summon Choi Sung-min. Days later inside the estate, a servant anxiously asks if the young master will ever wake up. Elder physician Ho Hong-won tells the anxious servant to remain patient. Hong-won reassures him that Baek-hoon's coma was not caused by physical trauma. Choi Sung-min presses the doctor, asking what else could keep him unconscious for 4 days. Hong-won admits he cannot pinpoint the exact cause of the young master's deep sleep. Remarkably, every past injury on his body has completely vanished. In fact, Baek-hoon's overall vital energy seems far healthier than ever before. Sung-min points out that Baek-hoon is gasping, as if waking from an intense nightmare. Relief floods the room as the young lord finally opens his eyes. Blinking in confusion, Baek-hoon wonders if he is trapped in a dream within a dream. Looking around the familiar room, he tries to orient himself. Dazed, he groggily asks where he is. Ho Hong-won warmly informs him that he is safe inside the Sword Saint clan estate. He reassures the young master that he has returned home. A wave of disappointment hits Baek-hoon as he confirms this reality is real. Hong-won notices his distress, asking if he is experiencing any pain. Baek-hoon claims he only feels a faint headache. Hong-won excuses himself to brew a soothing medicinal tea. Sung-min offers to prepare a warm meal immediately. Stopping his servant, Baek-hoon urgently asks for the exact date. Sung-min reveals he slept for 4 days, making today January 15, 2035. Checking his system interface, Baek-hoon verifies the calendar matches the game. The floating interface confirms beyond a shadow of a doubt that he isn't dreaming. He successfully survived the wilderness and made it back to his family's domain. Now he must plan his next moves carefully to navigate the treacherous road ahead. Returning home was only the first step of his survival strategy. However, the Sword Saint clan estate is far more dangerous than the Icy Mountain. Inside this annex, deadly political schemes unfold constantly. Rival heirs clash brutally in a ruthless bid to inherit supreme authority over the clan. The main succession candidates begin with the ruthlessly ambitious eldest son, Jo Tae-ran. Next is the eldest daughter, Jo Hun-yeon, followed by the arrogant third son, Jo Kang-ho. Then the fourth daughter, Jo Min. And finally, Jo Baek-hoon, who holds the lowest standing as the youngest sibling. There were originally 3 other siblings, but Tae-ran secretly murdered them all. While succession wars are common, Tae-ran's bloodlust is uniquely terrifying. Everyone accepts his fact that Tae-ran will inevitably claim the patriarch's seat. His rise to power as the next clan leader seems utterly unstoppable. All remaining siblings are painfully aware of their eldest brother's dominance. The opportunistic Jo Kang-ho allied himself directly with Tae-ran to survive. Meanwhile, Hun-yeon largely abandoned her own ambitions for the throne, and Jo Min holds zero interest in entering the brutal power struggle. Yet despite their submission, Tae-ran still murdered 3 younger siblings. The reason for such cruelty is terrifyingly simple. Tae-ran refuses to leave even a microscopic threat to his future reign alive. He is a monster who executes paranoid purges without a second thought, eliminating any chance of a rival faction organizing behind a sibling. He systematically slaughters anyone who could ever challenge his authority. Simply put, Jo Tae-ran demands total, unquestioned absolute power. In short, Tae-ran serves as the primary antagonist of Baek-hoon's story arc. Since today is January 15, 2035, the timeline is locked in. Events align perfectly with the original game's historical schedule. In exactly 2 years, Patriarch Jo Moak will step down. Moak plans to officially hand full leadership over to Tae-ran. If Baek-hoon fails to dethrone Tae-ran before that day, his execution is guaranteed. He calculates that he's a strict 2-year window to build his power. He cannot afford a single day's delay. Once Tae-ran officially ascends as patriarch, his authority will be absolute. At that point, killing or opposing him will become completely impossible. Fortunately, Tae-ran is currently away leading a high-level gate raid on Mount Seorak. The eldest brother will not return to the clan estate for another 2 months. Baek-hoon reassures Sung-min that he will take care of everything. He vows to maximize his martial strength before Tae-ran returns from the raid. The Sword Saint clan obeys a single rule: total martial dominance. If he demonstrates overwhelming power, the elders will be forced to acknowledge him. Thankfully, the clan estate houses top-tier combat instructors. Mastering their techniques will accelerate his growth exponentially. Stepping out of his quarters, he begins executing his first objective. Entering the infirmary, he politely apologizes to Ho Hong-won for barging in. He knows the fastest way to accelerate his physical growth. He must convince the master physician to take him as a disciple. He respectfully asks if he may watch the doctor brew remedies. He feigns deep interest in learning about his own physical recovery. Ho Hong-won served as chief physician since the previous patriarch's reign. Hong-won possesses rare legendary alchemy skills. Completely indifferent to clan politics, he cares only for medical research. His entire life revolves around concocting rare herbs and brews. Because of his impossibly high standards, he has never taken an apprentice. Though many sought his teachings, Hong-won rejected them all. His refusal stems from a very specific ideal. Having spent a lifetime mastering alchemy, he desires a worthy successor. He wishes to pass his life's work to someone truly dedicated to the clan. This desire is rooted in profound loyalty to the Sword Saint clan. Unfortunately, the bloodthirsty clan members consider medical arts beneath them. Young warriors mockingly questioned why they should study alchemy, arguing that remedies can simply be purchased with money. Thus, Hong-won remained without a disciple for decades. Baek-hoon knows that consuming high-tier elixirs will explosively boost his power. To safely digest those elixirs, he needs Hong-won's secret brewing skills. Hong-won nods gently, acknowledging the young lord's presence. The old doctor sighs, noting that brewing this current remedy took longer than expected. He apologizes, admitting his aging body slows down his work. Old age makes precision brewing increasingly difficult. Jo Baek-hoon politely reassures him that it is no trouble at all. Chuckling, Hong-won asks if the young lord is genuinely interested in alchemy. Though Baek-hoon seems focused, the doctor remains skeptical. Hong-won warns him not to tease an old man's hopes. Baek-hoon looks him in the eye, confirming his sincere intent. He boldly asserts his passion for mastering medical arts. He claims he has been secretly studying medical texts for years. Inhaling the steam, Baek-hoon identifies the precise scent profile. He correctly identifies notes of peace grass and dreamflower, analyzing the boiling brew solely by smell. He accurately states the concoction relieves headaches and calms the mind. Recalling the game guide, Baek-hoon knows proving expert knowledge triggers the apprenticeship. Demonstrating deep understanding will easily win Hong-won over. Shocked, Hong-won stammers, asking if he truly recognized the ingredients by aroma alone. Baek-hoon nods calmly, confirming his assessment. He explains that book knowledge alone is never enough. He claims he personally gathered and sampled wild herbs to memorize their traits. Recognizing their scents became second nature through experience. Then Baek-hoon pauses, detecting a dangerous secondary odor. He points out the presence of screaming weed, a highly toxic herb if prepared incorrectly. Hong-won's eyes widen as he confirms the young lord is correct. The physician explains it was added intentionally for a specific reaction. Baek-hoon adds that despite its toxicity, roasting screaming weed beforehand neutralizes its deadly toxins, transforming the poison into a potent booster for physical vitality. Hong-won stares at him in absolute awe. The old master laments with a heavy sigh. He grieves that Baek-hoon's true genius lies in healing rather than swordsmanship. He possesses a divine gift for saving lives. If only he had not been born into the bloodthirsty Sword Saint clan. Baek-hoon pivots, asking if Sung-min explained how he was injured. Hong-won replies that he heard a story about a solo stroll ruined by wild beasts. Baek-hoon nods, realizing the cover story was maintained. Hong-won remains completely unaware of Simbo Yoon's assassination attempt. Baek-hoon confesses that surviving the attack changed his perspective. Experiencing near death taught him the true value of medical arts. In desperate situations, alchemy is far more life-saving than a raw blade. He laments never having a proper master to guide him, stating his urgent desire to study under a true expert. Hong-won hesitates, then speaks with rising emotion. He formally asks if the young lord would honor him by becoming his disciple. Baek-hoon feigns surprise, asking if the master is truly certain. Noting the doctor's demanding schedule, Hong-won laughs heartily, dismissing the concern. For a genius pupil like Baek-hoon, he will clear his schedule completely. While he cannot teach everything in a single day, he proposes testing the young lord's baseline knowledge. Baek-hoon bows deeply, declaring the offer a supreme honor. Hong-won smiles softly, waving off the formality. Passing his life's work to a prodigy is the doctor's own privilege. Quest prompt: become the disciple of Ho Hong-won. Objective: demonstrate profound medical expertise to the master physician. Persevere through his tests. Reward: inherit the legendary alchemy skills of the master pharmacist. Baek-hoon knows passing the upcoming examination will officially lock in the skill. Once the condition triggers, a few follow-up study sessions will complete the mastery, unlocking Eastern medicine formulation. Having cleared this quest sequence dozens of times in the game, executing the steps in reality proves effortless. Ho Hong-won is one of the few completely trustworthy figures in the clan. Unlike Sim Bo-yoon, the physician harbors zero political greed. The same unshakable loyalty applies to Choi Sung-min, his personal attendant. Baek-hoon previously cured Soon's family of a fatal disease, using his knowledge to save their lives, earning Sung-min's eternal, unwavering devotion. Unfortunately, because Sung-min lacks martial talent, he faces dismissal as his servant contract nears its end. Regardless, Sung-min would choose death over betraying his master. Baek-hoon checks his next quest objectives. Quest title: First Steps to Escape Weakness. Reading the system message, he blinks in annoyance. System note: You are not merely thin. You are absurdly dangerously emaciated. In your current state, having the celestial martial physique is like casting pearls before swine. Objective: Run continuously for at least 5 hours. Quest rewards: 50 system points. Stat increase in physical endurance. Tilting his head, Baek-hoon groans. He foresees immense physical agony in his immediate future. Choi Sung-min watches in shock as his master prepares to run. Baek-hoon confirms his intention firmly, announcing he is starting physical training immediately, telling Sung-min to rest inside. Sung-min asks why his frail master is suddenly training so intensely. Baek-hoon simply states that surviving demands it. A flash of memory hits Baek-hoon. He recalls Patriarch Jo Moak's cold, disappointed gaze, remembering his father calling him weak and utterly incompetent, declaring it disgraceful that such a frail weakling was born his son, ordering him out of his sight forever. In the Sword Saint clan, survival of the fittest is absolute law. The estate operates strictly like a brutal animal kingdom. Pure martial strength dictates every single interaction. Bloodlines grant zero mercy to those deemed weak. The original Jo Baek-hoon was far too gentle, lacking martial talent in a clan that worshipped power, where fighting prowess was valued above life itself. His soft, timid personality only made him an easy target. He spent his entire youth mocked and despised by servants and family alike. Passing guards sneer, whispering in confusion as they watch him jog. One guard mocks that the bookworm must be looking for a place to read, laughing at the pathetic prince trying to exercise. Baek-hoon ignores their pathetic taunts. Their disrespect highlights just how low his standing currently is. He is treated as lesser than a common stray dog, in a clan that exalts martial prowess above all else. Had the original prince been born into a normal family, he could have lived a peaceful life surrounded by books. It is a tragic fate for a gentle soul. Unfortunately, this is the brutal Sword Saint clan. Things will be completely different from now on. He already knows the technique. However, he still wonders if he can move while maintaining focus, executing the King Kong techniques. This specialized martial art lightens the body and artificially boosts movement speed alongside raw reflexes. He felt its true power the moment he returned to the clan, fresh from the martial god's tomb. If he simply focuses on triggering a single skill, it activates without a hitch. This is far more doable than I expected. Gradually slowing his pace, he gasps, feeling like he is near death. He questions if this fragile shell is truly a human body. Mission completed. First steps to escape weakness. Reward 50 points and increase strength. The next stage of your physical transformation will begin shortly. Catching his breath as he comes to a standstill, he realizes he is finally ready. There was nothing else he could do. Yet despite the agony, the results of 6 relentless hours are better than expected, which comes as a massive relief. Suddenly, a mocking voice calls out from behind. What on earth is that awful stench? I was wondering where that smell of a decomposing corpse was coming from, only to realize it is just my little brother drenched in foul sweat. Jo Baek-hoon recognizes the speaker immediately as Jo Kang-ho. It is right around the time he usually wanders out. Addressing his brother directly, he notes it has been a long time. Kang-ho sneers, asking if he has actually been working out. Baek-hoon calmly confirms it. It was inevitable they would bump into each other. Everyone assumed he would stay holed up in his room forever. So why start exercising all of a sudden? After all, a fool working out is still just a fool. Baek-hoon chuckles softly under his breath. This man is the third son of the Sword Saint clan, Jo Kang-ho, widely known as the absolute disgrace of the family. He squanders money like a madman and indulges in constant debauchery. He causes a disaster everywhere he goes in public. Baek-hoon casually reminds him that after being ambushed by monsters recently, he decided it was time to train. Kang-ho steps closer with a smug look, claiming the whole effort is a complete waste of time. However, if he ever needs a hand, he should just speak up. He claims he would be delighted to assist, just like he used to back in the old days. Jo Baek-hoon feels a surge of quiet anger. He vows that Kang-ho will pay dearly for this insolence. Standing up straight, he wishes he could strike him down on the spot, but the timing is not right just yet. He must grow exponentially stronger first. First steps to escape weakness. Part 2. Your stamina has increased. Impressive progress. Yet you still have a long way to go. One more set. Complete 3 hours of continuous strength training. Reward: 50 points and a stat boost. Baek-hoon realizes the next session focuses entirely on strength and decides to dive right in. Checking his interface window, he sees striking skills require 100 points, while both the 3-fist technique and mind technique cost 50 points each. He earned 500 points from the martial god's tomb, plus another 100 from today's daily quest. That is a solid stockpile. Yet he cannot afford to waste a single one. By tomorrow, he will finally have enough points to unlock that specific core ability, a signature technique belonging to Yoon Sung-ha, a top-tier magic swordsman. It is none other than attribute manifestation. Even though it is an A-rank skill, it surprisingly costs only 500 points. However, because it drains a ludicrous amount of mana, it is notoriously difficult to control. Yet with the power of the 1,000-year snow ginseng, anything is possible. On the other hand, the 3-fist and 3-mind techniques are utterly garbage skills when placed next to attribute manifestation. Even if mastered to the absolute limit, they remain low-tier, third-rate martial arts. Yet his reason for learning them now is remarkably simple. It is essential for triggering the upcoming event. While pushing his body to the limit in physical training, he continuously showcased his medical expertise to Ho Hong-won. He points out that the plant in question is slanted grass, which carries a potent paralyzing agent. Consuming it raw would cause fatal suffocation. However, if thoroughly washed and properly dried first, it acts as a powerful stimulant. After passing Hong-won's rigorous medical test and completing 4 straight days of daily fitness quests, a system notification pops up. Eastern medicine formulation unlocked. Rank B. With expert knowledge in traditional alchemy, you can combine rare ingredients to formulate high-grade medicine. When crafting medicine using this skill, the resulting concoction yields 1.5 times the standard potency. Thanks to your exceptional mastery, an additional passive effect will be granted to all crafted elixirs. Watching this unfold, Ho Hong-won praises him as a master pharmacist, admitting his talent surpasses most professionals in the field. Jo Baek-hoon notices something subtle. Even though the status window is floating right in front of them, Hong-won makes no mention of it. It confirms the system interface is completely invisible to others, just as it functioned in the original game. He had his doubts before, but now he is certain nobody else can see it. In any case, he needs to focus on what matters most right now. He humbly dismisses the praise, stating that everything is thanks to the elder's guidance. He then reveals his intent to refine a special medicine and asks for assistance. Hong-won asks what kind of preparation requires his personal help. When Baek-hoon reveals the ingredients, the physician gasps in shock upon seeing 1,000-year snow ginseng. And that is not all. Beside it lie sungrass, fire spirit herb, and flame ginseng. Hong-won realizes this priceless hoard was why monsters attacked him. Baek-hoon nods, apologizing for keeping the secret until now. Ho Hong-won assures him that no apology is needed, admitting anyone would guard such treasures with their life. After all, genuine 1,000-year snow ginseng is legendary. He had never seen one in person before, yet its surging aura leaves no doubt of its authenticity. He asks what kind of pill Baek-hoon intends to forge. The boy explains he wants to craft a pill that maximizes yang energy to suppress the extreme yin energy of the snow ginseng. Hong-won pales, catching his dangerous implication. Baek-hoon confirms it without hesitation. He plans to swallow the 1,000-year snow ginseng directly. Hong-won remarks that he had heard about his brutal physical training over the past few days. It dawns on him that all those workouts were prep for consuming this elixir. Filled with excitement, the elder agrees to assist. Jo Baek-hoon reflects that initially, he didn't anticipate using the rare herbs he earned as rewards from the martial god's tomb quite like this. Yet everything fell into place. Hong-won promises to stand guard, warning that if things take a deadly turn, he will call for emergency help. Inspecting the newly refined pill, Baek-hoon swallows it whole. Instantly, searing heat surges through his veins. The agonizing temperature is almost unbearable. Yet he grits his teeth and endures it. Not yet. The intense yang energy has not fully saturated his body. Gradually, as the yang fire circulates through his limbs, it begins to absorb the frigid yin aura of the snow ginseng. Cursing under his breath, he feels the glacial yin energy freezing his meridians. He forces himself to regulate his internal breathing calmly. Ho Hong-won panics, shouting that his pulse is unstable and preparing to call for help. Looking closer, however, the physician gasps upon seeing Baek-hoon execute a cultivation method. Yet this breathing pattern does not belong to the Sword Saint clan. Baek-hoon relies on the 3-mind technique. Though it is a pathetic, low-tier mental art, it serves its purpose. It provides basic guidance for controlling internal mana flow. As the cultivation technique takes effect, Hongwon watches in utter disbelief. The wild energy is actually circulating smoothly. Overwhelmed with awe, he can hardly trust his own eyes. Surviving the snow ginseng was already a miracle, yet the boy successfully tamed it with advanced cultivation. Walking outside later, Baek-hoon recalls the elders questioning. Hongwon had asked where he learned such a cultivation art. Baek-hoon nervously lied, claiming he merely copied someone else. He feels confident he brushed off suspicion smoothly, so it shouldn't cause any issues, though he worries he might be underestimating the old man's sharp mind. Glancing around a secluded area, he decides the spot is quiet enough. Opening his status window, he grins at the results. His magic stat has officially surged to rank B. The elixirs have fully enhanced his foundation. Now, he turns his attention to attribute manifestation. This skill was originally created by Yoon Song-ha, a legendary magic swordsman, who developed it to channel his overflowing mana into his blade. It coats the weapon, infusing strikes with raw elemental power. Song-ha is one of the key named characters featured in the original game Heroes Road. His innate unique trait is Dragon Heart, a miraculous physical condition that generates an absurd volume of mana. As Baek-hoon tests the skill, he confirms its terrifying force. It is insanely powerful, befitting an A-rank ability. However, he collapses to the ground in utter exhaustion. The mana drain is immense, which was completely expected. After all, attribute manifestation was tailored specifically to regulate Song-ha's monstrous reserves. Baek-hoon only managed to cast it thanks to the snow ginseng. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't even dream of activating such a heavy skill. He recalls that Song-ha should be in the United States around this time frame. It will certainly be interesting to cross paths with her later, but right now he must prepare for the first major main event. Choi Sung-min points out that he has been waking up extremely early lately. Because of that, the loyal servant hasn't been able to get proper sleep either. He asks if there is a special family gathering scheduled for the morning. Jo Baek-hoon inquires about the clan's morning itinerary. Sung-min reminds him that today is Sunday, meaning the main family members will gather to observe the morning drills. They were invited to watch as well, but Sung-min declined on his behalf, since Baek-hoon hadn't attended since he was a young child. Baek-hoon surprises him by stating he will attend today. He declares it is his duty as a family member to be present. Seung-min hesitates, recalling how Baek-hoon cried after seeing the brutal training as a boy and vowed never to watch it again, which infuriated the clan patriarch at the time. Baek-hoon brushes off the past as irrelevant. He instructs Sung-min to get things ready and notify the elders that he will be participating. Whispers break out among the crowd, wondering what he is doing there. They marvel at the sight of the useless youngest son attending morning drills. Baek-hoon reflects on the clan's tradition. It is an ancient custom of the Sword Saint clan. Every morning, all disciples and trainees undergo a rigorous group combat session. Without exception, the combat instructors and senior family members gather to evaluate their performance. Among the crowd standing on the Grand Pavilion, Baek-hoon realizes something striking. This is his very first time seeing the man in person. It is his first face-to-face sight of clan patriarch Jo Moak. The suffocating aura surrounding the patriarch is no joke. Flanking him are the elite master combat instructors. A mocking voice interrupts his thoughts. The speaker mentions hearing about the monster attack, fake checking if he is unhurt. Baek-hoon offers a polite, calm smile, thanking him for the sudden concern, adding that Dr. Ho Hong-won treated his injuries completely. Jo Kang-ho scoffs, calling him utterly pathetic. For a son of the prestigious Sword Saint clan, to end up on the brink of death, after getting cornered by weak, low-tier monsters, is an absolute disgrace to the entire lineage. Baek-hoon feels a flash of irritation, but tells himself to stay composed. He notices Jo-min standing right next to Kang-ho. Kang-ho continues sneering, noting how frequently Baek-hoon visits the pharmacy lately. He asks if he plans to pursue medicine instead, given his complete lack of talent for swordsmanship. He snickers that playing with herbs suits a shut-in, who used to do nothing but hide in his room reading books. Baek-hoon sighs internally, realizing he tried to play nice, but it is time to push forward into the main event. Kang-ho leans in, calling him a pathetic, worthless little bastard. He orders Baek-hoon to follow him after the gathering, threatening to beat him half to death. Correcting himself with a smirk, he claims he will kindly teach him some proper sword technique. Baek-hoon looks him dead in the eye and tells him to shut his mouth. He remarks that his foul breath stinks from miles away. He asks if he is unaware of the putrid stench caused by excessive coffee and tobacco. Turning around dismissively, he advises him to brush his teeth thoroughly, especially if he intends to keep chasing women around, and reminds him not to forget scraping his tongue. Kang-ho, flush with rage, snarls that the brat must have a suicide wish. Ignoring him, Jo Baek-hoon steps forward and bows formally before Jo Moak. He respectfully submits a formal request, stating his desire to begin learning martial arts. Moak glares down, asking why he steps onto the training grounds, reminding him this place is not for someone lacking both talent and drive. Baek-hoon replies that he has developed a keen interest in martial arts. The patriarch questions his sudden change, recalling how Baek-hoon once claimed he would never learn brutal techniques designed to kill people. Baek-hoon acknowledges his past naive mindset, explaining that surviving a near-death encounter fundamentally reshaped his perspective. Rather than perishing helplessly when danger strikes, he resolves to master martial arts, to fight fiercely for his own survival, casting aside all the foolish notions he previously held. Moak watches him closely, questioning his immediate intention. Baek-hoon declares his specific ambition, stating he wishes to train directly under one of the 4 master combat instructors. Kang-ho bursts into laughter, mocking him for believing a talentless failure has any right to be tutored by elite instructors. He claims the proposal is so absurd even stray dogs would laugh, insisting Baek-hoon's martial talent is entirely worthless, and that instructing such trash would be a massive waste of an instructor's time. Assigning a master combat instructor to him, Kang-ho adds, would be an even greater insult to the clan. Baek-hoon calmly asks what happens if he proves he possesses talent. Knowing exactly how Kang-ho would react, he boldly promises to demonstrate ability worthy of a master instructor's guidance. When asked how he intends to prove his worth, Baek-hoon announces he will defeat Kang-ho in an official duel right here in 1 week. Kang-ho roars with laughter at the proclamation, treating the challenge as a hilarious joke and mocking the arrogant brat who has never formally trained in martial arts. Baek-hoon asks the patriarch for his approval. Patriarch Moak agrees to the terms, warning that if Baek-hoon loses, he will be stripped of his status and banished from the clan, demanding he risk his legacy on the outcome. Baek-hoon accepts the condition with a confident smile. He thinks to himself that with only 1 week to prepare, defeating Kang-ho will secure direct mentorship from a master instructor, granting him a powerful high-tier skill free of charge. He sets up mana dummies that absorb user energy to move and strike in combat simulations. Smirking, he resolves to crush Kang-ho completely in the upcoming duel. Onlookers gossip about whether the weakling Baek-hoon is actually training, reminding each other how he allegedly ran away crying during his last spar with Kang-ho. They laugh, anticipating another hilarious spectacle and wondering how many seconds he will last before collapsing. Baek-hoon notes that the 3-fist technique is a basic street brawling art containing 3 primary strikes: a straight punch, a heavy jab, and an elbow smash. It focuses on channeling mana directly into the knuckles or weapon impact points. 3 days pass as he relentlessly repeats this brutal routine. Observating from a distance, Han Seona thinks his training looks simple on the surface, as he merely runs with the King Kong technique and strikes dummies using 3 fists. Yet she marvels at his infinite stamina to maintain King Kong all day without his posture wavering once, wondering how he possesses such refined experience while using a basic fist art. Another instructor approaches Seona, asking if she has reconsidered her neutral stance on clan politics. Seona firmly refuses, while the instructor urges her that backing Jo Tae-ran would bring great political advantages. Looking at the demolished training dummies, Baek-hoon grins at the destruction. He worried real-world physics might differ from game mechanics, but his power output is right on target. It is all thanks to the 1,000-year snow ginseng. As he reflects, Seona interrupts, asking if he is truly confident about the impending fight. Baek-hoon explains that the Sword Saint clan hierarchy revolves around master instructors backing their chosen successors. The more high-ranking backing a successor claims, the greater their advantage. However, neutral instructors like Seona exist, and Baek-hoon realizes his opportunity has finally arrived. When Baek-hoon asks what she means, Seonta points out that Kang-ho has been personally trained for years by senior grandmasters. Baek-hoon asks if she is implying there is no point in fighting a losing battle against a heavily favored opponent. Seona tries to clarify, but Baek-hoon lightly teases that she definitely meant to call his chances slim. He admits anyone would think the same, assuring her he did not issue the challenge blindly without a solid plan. Seona asks if his secret weapon is his unorthodox fist technique. Baek-hoon notes the intense curiosity in her eyes, appreciating her unique mindset. While most Sword Saint clan members blindly obsess over swordsmanship, Seona possesses a far broader vision. She explores diverse combat disciplines to expand her strength, with magic martial styles being a prime example. She normally restrains her non-traditional interests due to her official role, but seeing a clan successor utilize fist arts intrigues her deeply. When she reminds him the clan strictly focuses on the blade, Baek-hoon asks who wrote such a restrictive rule, reminding her that the ancient martial god mastered swords, fist arts, spears, and archery alike. The martial god utilized every form of warfare to achieve absolute victory. He asks why the clan limits itself to swords alone, declaring he will break foolish traditions to master whatever skills make him unstoppable. In reality, he knows the martial god only left swords' secret manuals behind, though the lore never explained why. Since the martial god never physically appeared in the game, Seona commends his open mind, realizing his unconventional path frees him from rigid clan dogma. She offers to personally guide his training. Baek-hoon celebrates inwardly, knowing he successfully hooked her curiosity. He asks if she realizes taking him on might invite backlash, since the entire clan despises him. Seona bluntly states she is already considered an outcast by traditionalists, so paired with another outcast, she has nothing to lose. She shrugs off public opinion. Baek-hoon realizes that unlike other teachers who invent excuses to reject him, Seona genuinely disregards social pressure. Her fearless attitude and exceptional teaching instincts make her the ideal mentor for his growth. With a broad smile, he accepts her instruction, recalling that Seona holds the potential to evolve into a top-tier magic swordswoman akin to Yoon Song-ha. Her mana mastery is superb. Suddenly shifting into strict instructor mode, she commands him to sit down immediately. Knowing how brutal her drills get, Baek-hoon tries to postpone until tomorrow, but Seona scolds his weakness, asking how he expects to defeat Jo Kang-ho with that attitude. He remembers too late that she turns into an absolute demon supervisor during training sessions. She explains that the clan utilizes the Heavenly Ascension Mind technique as its foundation, an art left behind by the martial god. While difficult to master, she presents a custom-modified version tailored specifically for faster mana integration. Injecting a trace of mana to guide his pathways, Seona gasps in shock upon feeling his massive dantian, realizing how he maintained King Kong effortlessly. His vessel capacity far exceeds any beginner who just started mental cultivation. Tracing his vitality, she senses an extraordinarily balanced, heavenly gifted physical foundation. Jo Baek-hoon nods, stating he grasps the concept, and immediately attempts the technique. Seona agrees, expecting him to struggle, as proper control normally requires endless hours of grueling practice. Since he neglected martial arts his entire life, she assumes execution will take time despite his impressive innate physical talent. Having a vast dantian is separate from technical execution, so she resolves not to judge him harshly. She used to despise instructors who chased political power by serving successors instead of pursuing true martial mastery. Yet what she witnesses in Baek-hoon completely shatters her preconceptions. Trembling in awe, she gasps that his execution is flawless, having replicated the complex pathway after seeing it just once. It is a terrifying talent, suggesting his true potential may eclipse every sibling in the clan. Recalling his bold words earlier, she realizes supporting Baek-hoon might be the best decision she ever makes. Though she never intended to back a successor, teaching him feels thrilling. Meanwhile, Baek-hoon smirks wickedly at how easily he unlocked these free skill rewards. To trigger the event Seona's interest, one must train using fist skills instead of traditional swords, pique her martial curiosity through dialogue, and exhibit monstrous talent. Meeting these criteria prompts Seona to teach two rare skills. The first is the Heavenly Ascension Mind technique, while the second skill will be imparted tomorrow. The Heavenly Ascension Mind technique, originally wielded by the martial god, accelerates mana accumulation and activates latent physical traits, now buffed further by Seona's modifications. Baek-hoon reflects that while it seemed effortless for him, clearing the requirements for Seona's event is notoriously difficult for normal players. If a candidate lacks divine talent, she abandons them instantly. Fortunately, his current transmigrated body possesses world-class talent. There was no way a passionate teacher like her could turn away a genius of his caliber. Spectators wonder how Baek-hoon sustains such brutal physical strain without collapsing before the duel. Meanwhile, Seona barks orders, driving him to execute King Kong with faster, stronger footwork. Encouraging him to push harder, she demands total concentration. Trainees whispering nearby comment on how notoriously strict instructor Seona has become. Finally wrapping up the session, she advises him to rest and maintain peak condition for tomorrow's duel. Baek-hoon bows, sincerely thanking her for the immense progress made. Seona admits she never expected him to endure the brutal regimen without a single complaint. Baek-hoon credits her constant support, requesting that she continue guiding his training. He notes he still needs to polish both the Heavenly Ascension Mind technique and his King Kong footwork. Seona marvels inwardly at his humility, considering he mastered the Heavenly Ascension concept on his very first attempt. She finds it absurd that clan rumor labeled a monster like him as talentless. Glares intensify from across the courtyard as an agitated Jo Kang-ho approaches, calling him an arrogant bastard. Jo Baek-hoon tells her to stay out of this. Holding him tight, Kang-ho angrily asks if he thinks this is a joke and why he didn't tell their father he was quitting the fight, but Baek-hoon simply claims he has no idea what he is talking about. Keeping his cool, Baek-hoon asks why he should forfeit, prompting Kang-ho to snap that there is no way he can win and ask if he realizes how humiliating it is to fight someone like him. Swatting his hand away, Baek-hoon asks why he is acting so nervous, taunting him by asking if he is afraid of losing. He reminds him that their father approved the fight, asking if he realizes that neither of them can back out now. Kang-ho laughs it off, saying he is right and shouldn't have said that, before promising to see his beloved brother tomorrow. He adds that he is sure he already knows the rules. He points out that no rule forbids killing an opponent during a duel, but Baek-hoon simply tells him to leave as time passes and the promised day finally arrives. Jo Hun-yeon asks who requested the duel, and when Jo-min admits she isn't sure if it was Baek-hoon, she wonders aloud if he is being serious, noticing Kang-ho has arrived early. She realizes Baek-hoon hasn't shown up yet while the old elders who support Jo Tae-ran gather around, though she reminds herself that the real priority is bringing Ha-yeon to her side. Jo-min points out that Baek-hoon has finally arrived, feeling puzzled as to why instructor Han Seona is walking alongside him. Gazing at the sky, Baek-hoon remarks that he appreciates today's protective barrier, though he wishes it blocked the cold, then asks Seona if something is wrong after noticing her strange expression, to which she replies that she doesn't think he will lose. She explains that after watching him train, she is only worried he might get injured fighting someone as rough as Kang-ho, even if he wins, while Baek-hoon mentions Choi Sung-min was worried too. After a brief silence, Baek-hoon remarks that she sounds like his official master, just as an announcement proclaims the patriarch's arrival, prompting him to tell her they had better prepare. He asks if she wants to hear something interesting, explaining that when his brother was young, he encountered a monster that severely injured his right arm, which was barely saved by healers. He notes that there is a reason he is bringing this up right now. Smiling, he says he mentioned it so she wouldn't worry so much, just as the announcement calls for everyone to get ready for the start of the duel. Baek-hoon observes that his opponent seems to be in prime condition while Kang-ho fumes inwardly, vowing to kill him right here no matter what. Lunging forward, Kang-ho unleashes a sky-soaring sword technique, thinking that while it isn't fully perfected yet, it will be more than enough. He taunts him internally, mocking whether he can even dodge when he hasn't formally learned martial arts. Reflecting on his past life, Baek-hoon recalls how he used to get stuck trying to defeat Kang-ho while clearing the game on Baek-hoon's route. Since no one else played Baek-hoon's route, he had no guides to consult and had to figure out every strike and counter on his own. That was when he remembered a fun feature in the game, combining different skills. The night before the duel, he purchased a few skills, starting with ground kick to launch dust and rocks directly into his opponent's face. Kang-ho laughs mockingly, shouting that such a trash technique won't do anything to him. He calls it embarrassing, mocking Baek-hoon for talking big about killing him when he can't even land a scratch, then asks if he knows why their father let him run wild with his stupid antics. He boasts that it was because he possessed real talent, enough to bully anyone he wanted, though he admits he never truly understood their father. He asks Baek-hoon if he genuinely believes he has any talent. Furious, Baek-hoon tells him to shut his mouth. Kang-ho thinks his opponent is an idiot for trying to block a martial skill with his bare hands, believing his arrogance will be his downfall. The onlookers gasp in shock, wondering if he is utilizing enhanced energy. Kang-ho stammers in disbelief, asking how this is possible. Baek-hoon reminds him that only the strong survive within the Sword Saint clan. The strong prey upon the weak, and the weak are devoured. Shielding her eyes from the dust, Seona calls out to him in worry after losing sight of the action. A system window announces the completion of the mission, I became the shame of the family, granting 300 points and increasing his mastery of the martial gods book. Smiling, Jo Baek-hoon declares that since he is the strongest, he will take his authority, mansion, finances, and everything else. He adds that total spoils are what the winner deserves. Ha-yeon watches in shock, questioning how he could master elemental attribute energy enhancement in just a single week. When someone wonders if he learned it without a teacher, an elder notes that instructor Han Seona assisted him. However, another points out she only taught him basic circulation and qigong techniques. The elders marvel that no one taught him fist techniques or energy enhancement, unable to believe he achieved such competence alone, while Jo Hun-yeon wonders if he is a true genius. She checks herself, thinking not even a genius could pull this off, especially since he lacked talent when their father trained him in his youth. Wondering if the patriarch was mistaken all along, Jo Moak rises with a faint smile, ordering a servant to tell Baek-hoon to come to his room. Sighing in relief, Baek-hoon realizes he ran completely out of mana, while Seona praises him for winning without a single scratch, though he reminds her he told her not to worry. He pauses, lost in thought. He realizes she would likely agree if he asked her to officially support him, but since she will soon become his personal instructor, he decides not to rush, just as a summons arrives from the patriarch. Baek-hoon figures the patriarch will ask which great master he wants, but he plans to take even more, knowing Kang-ho is being treated by Ho Hong-won and has had his reputation ruined after losing to someone with a week of training. He knows there is still much more he can strip away from his brother. He resolves to execute the exact strategy he used before. The patriarch notes that he wished to learn martial arts and that the great masters are the pillars of the clan, asking if he truly possesses the talent required to be taught by them. Baek-hoon responds challenge for challenge, asking his father if he still thinks he lacks it. Moak acknowledges his fiery spirit but warns that he cannot demand teachings from all of them, adding that if one refuses, he must accept it. He explains that the clan's pillars cannot be governed by blood ties, prompting Baek-hoon to ask if he should pick just one, knowing this was coming. Recognizing that 3 of the masters already back rival successors and would either reject him or sabotage his training, Baek-hoon realizes he has only one choice to trigger the event he needs. He formally announces his choice to study under Great Master Ha-yeon. She is the most skilled among the 4 master instructors, having served Moak for years while researching countless martial styles. Rather than entangling herself in succession disputes, she dedicated her life to advancing the clan's swordsmanship and nurturing young talent. Among her former students who became combat instructors is Han Seona. Evaluating her influence through talent development, martial refinement, and total contribution to the clan, she stands supreme. Ha-yeon holds the most influential position in the clan, and the patriarch asks for her response. An elder thinks it is over, admitting it is commendable for the boy to wield attribute-infused aura in such a brief time. He notes that Ha-yeon never takes successors as disciples, having only taught basic swordsmanship to Jo Tae-ran. He assumes Baek-hoon failed to understand the personalities of the master instructors due to his lifelong seclusion, feeling it is unfortunate after working so hard for this chance. He laments that Great Master Ha-yeon and instructor Han Seona are stubbornly determined to remain neutral. Ha-yeon steps forward and asks to confirm something first, approaching Baek-hoon while he realizes she is testing his innate talent. Though the result was predetermined, she gasps in shock and calls it impossible, declaring his physical foundation to be absolutely perfect. The onlookers react in astonishment, amazed that Baek-hoon managed to draw such praise from master instructor Ha-yeon. Moak asks what she intends to do, and she explains that while she previously rejected every successor to avoid political disputes, she must make an exception this time. She agrees to accept him as her disciple, prompting Moak to approve and dismiss everyone from the hall except Ha-yeon. Before leaving, Baek-hoon requests full access to the clan's finances, knowing that Tae-ran, Hun-yeon, Kang-ho, and Min have always spent clan funds freely. In contrast, as an outcast child, he was given only enough money to survive. Gaining access to the clan treasury would signal Moak's formal recognition of him as a legitimate successor, securing the wealth he needs for his future plans. He knows he must secure this financial approval now to fund his upcoming objectives. Moak agrees, ordering that all of Kang-ho's financial allowance be transferred to Baek-hoon, while cutting Kang-ho off until he learns his lesson. A servant protests that the punishment is far too harsh. Baek-hoon realizes she must be Kang-ho's attendant as Moak turns his cold gaze onto her. The patriarch asks her if she thinks he is being harsh, questioning whether Kang-ho has been slacking in his training. He admits Kang-ho had talent, which is why he let him do as he pleased, but demands she remember who won today's battle. He asks if there was a single area where Kang-ho outperformed Baek-hoon during the duel. He reminds her that this is the Sword Saint clan and that a weakling has no place among them. He orders her to leave immediately if she understands. A few hours later, Moak asks Ha-yeon for her true assessment of the young master. She reveals that despite teaching countless geniuses, none matched the sheer scale of Baek-hoon's talent. She admits his potential might even rival Moak's own, leaving the patriarch feeling deeply unsettled. Moak notes that he watched the boy for years without seeing a single trace of talent. Ha-yeon agrees that she felt the same way until recently. She reminds him that Baek-hoon fell unconscious for days after being attacked by monsters. Moak asks if she believes a fundamental awakening occurred while he was unconscious. She confirms that it is the only logical explanation. Smiling, Moak finds the development intriguing. He realizes his youngest son might become a major wildcard in the succession struggle. Baek-hoon takes 2 days to recover from the duel before beginning his instruction under Ha-yeon. A system alert reveals a new feature in the Martial Gods book, allowing him to spend points to unlock traits. He is thrilled, noting that rank 1 only provided basic skills. Now that the book reached rank 2, unlocking traits gives him abilities equivalent to innate talents. While traits like poison immunity or accelerated mana recovery are expensive, they offer massive advantages. Certain story events require specific traits to trigger, and he has only a month and a half before Jo Tae-ran returns. Knowing Tae-ran will target him the moment he returns, Baek-hoon resolves to grow as strong as possible and step out into the real world. Before making a public appearance, he gathers intelligence through Choi Sung-min. He instructs Sung-min to head to the Somnium Bar in Gangnam and uncover the item list for the upcoming auction. He reflects that in Heroes Road, story scenarios shift constantly even on the exact same character route. Enemy hideouts change location, meaning his own movements create massive dynamic variables. Sending Sung-min is far more efficient than risking missed story events himself. Besides, he needs to focus on training and managing the assets seized from Kang-ho. Examining the inventory, he is impressed by the massive wealth Kang-ho managed to hoard. Han Seona approaches Baek-hoon and hands him a card he requested. He recognized it as a black card, reserved exclusively for the top 0.1%. Even while isolated on Mount Seorak, the Sword Saint clan amassed vast wealth by selling portal loot over generations. Their total resources form a staggering fortune. When Sung-min delivers the card directly, Sesona confirms what it signifies. She explains that she is now his dedicated personal instructor, meaning she will no longer train other apprentices. Baek-hoon knows that a personal instructor functions similarly to a high-level aide and bodyguard. Given Siona's exceptional combat prowess, securing her complete loyalty is a massive win. He is pleased that she willingly chose to become his personal instructor. He smiles and tells her he is counting on her. He decides to acquire a special trait to optimize his upcoming training regimen. He selects C-rank Energizer, which reduces physical fatigue and accelerates energy recovery. Though 300 points is steep for a C-rank trait, the lingering buff from the 1,000-year snow ginseng has worn off. He can no longer rely on rare spiritual pills to sustain all-night training sessions. This trait provides a permanent solution as he considers the two ways to acquire skills in Hero's Road. One can either master a skill through grinding or absorb it instantly from a rare skill book. While low-tier skill books are common, high-level manuals are exceptionally rare. Most martial artists must train for years, making skill books valuable shortcuts. Thanks to the Martial Gods book, he can bypass those limits whenever he chooses. Furthermore, his status as a clan heir grants him unrestricted access to top-tier training facilities. It is a massive advantage for his current growth. Ha Yan welcomes him upon his arrival and invites him inside. Once seated, she asks what specific martial arts he wishes to learn from her. After a quiet moment, Baek-hoon reveals that he wants to learn fist arts, surprising her. He confirms his choice, knowing anyone else in his position would demand sword techniques. The flagship art of the Sword Saint clan, practiced by mainline members and disciples alike, is the sky-severing sword style. It is an inherently devastating technique that grows exponentially stronger with mastery. She asks if he realizes he is standing in the Sword Saint clan, and he responds calmly. He clarifies that he isn't disrespecting sword techniques, but fist arts are merely his starting point toward mastering all combat forms. Like the ancient gods of war, he intends to learn and adapt every martial art that can make him stronger. He mentions hearing about her research into ancient war god techniques, asking if she has something suitable for him. Smiling, she finds his confidence amusing, while he notes internally that he approached her specifically because of her research. Ha Yan admits she uncovered a unique fist style while searching ancient records across the world. However, she warns him that the secret manual documenting it was incomplete. Baek-hoon catches her meaning, and she confirms that it is an unfinished martial art, advising him to be realistic. She urges him to learn the sky-severing sword style instead if he truly seeks power, highlighting its vast repertoire of techniques. Slamming his hand on the table, Baek-hoon firmly refuses, declaring that his decision remains unchanged. Sighing at his stubbornness, Ha Yan relents and agrees to teach him, matching his expectations. She warns that true talent takes time to reveal itself as she prepares to teach him 2 base forms, though he notes 2 moves hardly constitute a complete style. She nods, explaining that much of the original manual was lost, surging her aura to demonstrate while the surrounding disciples watch in awe. A quest prompt appears, urging him to shatter the remaining skepticism surrounding his defeat of Kang Ho by demonstrating overwhelming talent. The system instructs him to closely observe and perfectly copy Ha Yan's technique for a 200-point reward. Smiling at the easy task, Baek-hoon watches as Ha Yan demonstrates the first technique, Sky Destroyer. He notes its immense destructive force, while Ha Yan explains it drains a vast amount of mana, warning that anyone with an ordinary Dantian would fail instantly before moving to the second move. She prepares a mana-infused scarecrow to demonstrate the next technique. She explains that injecting mana into the target causes it to fire minor mana orbs, harmless but stinging on contact. When she shoots an orb at him, Baek-hoon wonders why this scenario wasn't in the game, but she asks him to observe carefully. Surprised, spectating apprentices wonder if she truly possesses such high-level arts, knowing they could never copy them. Ha Yan introduces the technique as Reversal Strike, explaining that while it looks less flashy than Sky Destroyer, redirecting an attack requires far greater mana control. Baek-hoon agrees that it is a versatile technique, especially against mages, and offers to try it himself. Nearby apprentices whisper among themselves, confused as to why the young master is training directly with Ha Yeon. One mentions Baek-hoon beat Kang Ho to earn this lesson, but another refuses to believe it without seeing it firsthand. Ha Yan asks if he wants to attempt the second move first, and Baek-hoon confirms he will, knowing she doubts he can pull it off after seeing it once. He knows the doubtful spectating apprentices are waiting for him to fail so they can laugh, but he readies himself anyway. He reflects that standard martial artists require endless grueling practice to learn a skill, but his system bypasses those limits. He executes Reversal Strike perfectly, absorbing the incoming attack and leaving Ha Yan utterly speechless. She is stunned that he not only copied a technique that took her years to master, but refined it on the spot, completing the quest for 200 points. Ha Yan expresses shock that he channeled the absorbed mana directly into a Sky Destroyer counter, but Baek-hoon modestly claims he had to compensate for his smaller mana pool. He critiques his own execution as noisy and inefficient, but Ha Yan admits she has never seen a genius of his caliber. She confesses she doubts whether she even has enough knowledge to properly instruct someone so extraordinarily talented. Recognizing the prompt pattern, Baek-hoon realizes his performance unlocked a high-tier follow-up chain. The follow-up quest, Hair of the Martial God, triggers, praising his terrifying skill and tasking him with mastering Ha-yeon's regimen. The completion reward is the movement technique Ghostly Shadow Steps. He is thrilled to get Ghostly Shadow Steps as a free reward, though he knows the training difficulty will be brutal. Ha-yeon explains that Ghostly Shadow Steps provides the exact mobility needed to set up Sky Destroyer safely. A week later, Baek-hoon lies exhausted on the ground after being worked like a dog, though Ha-yeon praises his unbelievable growth. He laughs weakly, saying he is nowhere near her level, while an approaching voice jokingly calls him arrogant for trying to catch up to a master instructor so quickly. Ha-yeon turns to greet the elder physician Ho Hong-won and Han Seona as they arrive. Baek-hoon confirms Seona is now his personal instructor, teasingly surprising Ha-yeon, who reminds Seona she promised to stay neutral. Flustered, Seona asks her not to tease her and Ha-yeon laughs, apologizing for poking fun at her choice. Seona insists she thought it through, and Ha-yeon nods, concluding today's lesson while reminding Baek-hoon that Tae-ran returns in a month. When asked if he truly intends to fight for the patriarch seat, Baek-hoon replies it is too late to back down now that he has exposed his teeth. Ha-yeon mentions he could have aligned with Jo Kang-ho's faction, but smiles when Baek-hoon silently dismisses the idea. She remarks that if Jo Han-min and Jo Oh-lian were still alive, the succession war would be far more complicated. She warns him to be careful of Tae-ran and remaining rivals, as they will stop at nothing to claim leadership of the clan. Baek-hoon knows better than anyone that Han-min and Oh-lian's deaths were no accident. When they publicly declared their ambition for the patriarch seat, Tae-ran murdered them both and staged it as an accident. Knowing Tae-ran tried to kill him before, Baek-hoon realizes he is now at the top of his hit list and needs far more power, just as Choi Sung-min startles him. Startled by Sung-min's sudden appearance, Baek-hoon almost mistakes him for an assassin, while Seona draws her weapon on the heavily altered man. Baek-hoon stops Seona, pointing out it is just Sung-min, leaving her stunned at his drastic weight gain. Eating a macaron excitedly, Seona understands how Sung-min gained weight in a week, while Baek-hoon finds it funny she never tasted one before. Embarrassed, she admits she was raised inside the clan, and Baek-hoon recalls she was an orphan taken in at a young age. Sung-min reports that the Somnium Bar auction will feature a rare beast corpse and hands over 2 invitations he managed to secure. Taking the invites, Baek-hoon decides they should both attend the auction in Seoul, ordering Sung-min to finalize travel arrangements. Arriving in Seoul, Seona feels self-conscious about people staring at her modern outfit, but Baek-hoon tells her she looks fine. He tells her to stop looking around suspiciously, asking if she ever visits Seoul, to which she replies she only came once to register at the association. He asks if she came to update her hunter license after becoming an instructor, and she nods as he looks at the Hunter Association building. He reflects on how monsters and portals appeared centuries ago, giving rise to hunters who formed powerful organizations. Those groups evolved into massive guilds, magic towers, and elite martial clans like the Sword Saint clan, all driven by profit. Seona remarks that dark sects currently wield more power than local governments, but tells him not to worry about low-rank hunter problems. He agrees, knowing everything will shift once An Chang-woo joins the Hunter Association, noting they have arrived at the venue. Seona marvels at the massive underground facility filled with food, luxury, and elite hunters gathered for the auction. Baek-hoon leads her to a VIP balcony on the 2nd floor just as the auctioneer welcomes the crowd. The auctioneer announces rare items from other worlds, obtained exclusively from dimensional monsters as the bidding begins. The first item is an otherworldly magic skill book from the Dark Region. Baek-hoon notes the book looks impressive as bidding starts at 100 million won, noticing Seona watching it intently. Knowing she possesses high magic affinity and an A-rank magic trait, he understands her interest but focuses on finding his target artifact. A bidder suddenly drops 1 billion won to secure the book, and Baek-hoon recognizes him, realizing the main event is starting. The auctioneer unveils the grand prize, the pristine corpse of a rare snow tiger from Mount Seorak. Seona gasps at its ridiculous mana concentration, noting it was preserved so well it almost seems alive. With its mana heart fully intact, the auctioneer sets the starting price at 1 billion won. Bids rapidly climb past 2 billion as Seona watches in awe while Baek-hoon plans his move. Knowing the beast's hide, teeth, and heart are invaluable, Baek-hoon raises his tablet and bids 6 billion won, shocking Seona. She worries the patriarch will be furious over such spending, but Baek-hoon assures her it is a drop in the bucket for the clan. Rival bidders quickly push the price up to 7 billion won, which Baek-hoon fully expected. Ignoring Seona's attempts to caution him, Baek-hoon casually raises the bid to 10 billion won. The crowd gasps at the sudden jump as a sweating rival bidder curses in frustration. The rival glares at Baek-hoon, furious that a rich kid is driving the price sky high. Desperate for the body, the rival bids 10.2 billion, prompting a minorly annoyed Baek-hoon to counter with 15 billion won. When the rival attempts a small raise, Baek-hoon instantly slams down a 20 billion won bid, infuriating his opponent. The rival trembles in rage at the casual 20 billion bid as the auctioneer prepares to close. The auctioneer strikes the gavel, selling the snow tiger to Baek-hoon for 20 billion won, while Seona holds the spatial bag containing the corpse. She marvels at the spatial bag, and Baek-hoon asks if she knows about the laggards and the magic tower. She confirms the magic tower is the world's premier magic institution, rivaling the Sword Saint clan in prestige and brutal training. He explains that those who flunk out of the magic tower formed a rogue organization called the laggards. While publicly called mercenaries, he defines them as a criminal syndicate obsessed with acquiring magic artifacts. Suddenly, a group of maniacal laggards ambushes them, demanding the snow tiger corpse. They cast a silent spell to cover their crime, underestimating the duo as defenseless rich kids. Seona angrily questions if they know who they are threatening, but her ice skill instantly freezes their legs mid-charge. Panicking, the ambush leader named Haben realizes they are outmatched and flees to call for backup, ordering his men to hold the line. Baek-hoon leaves the remaining goons to Seona and chases after Haben. Seona easily dismantles the attackers, marveling internally at Baek-hoon's vast world knowledge. The trapped goons scream in terror as her high-level sword techniques slice through them effortlessly. She coldly tells them to blame their own stupidity for picking a fight with the Sword Saint clan, while Baek-hoon grabs a dropped manual. He tracks Haben to the rogue base, wishing hideout locations weren't randomized across episodes before calling for his backup. Lee Hun-woo steps out of the shadows, and Baek-hoon confirms there are no civilians inside the building. He orders Hun-woo's squad to exterminate everyone inside except for the officer he chased. He realizes the clan secretly assigned the Soul Branch to escort him, enjoying the perks of his status. A quest window triggers pest extermination, rewarding 200 points for wiping out the rogue hideout. Haben demands to know who they are, laughing hysterically when Baek-hoon identifies them as the Sword Saint clan. Hun-woo releases a crushing aura, threatening to break every bone in Haben's body if he disrespects the young master again. After clearing the base, Baek-hoon orders the men to tie Haben up and head to the third basement level. Hun-woo is shocked, admitting his men overlooked a hidden room behind the basement library. Baek-hoon reassures him, while Hun-woo marvels at the young master's uncanny intelligence. Searching the secret vault, Baek-hoon locates his main target, an ancient magic training circle. The A-rank magic training circle provides passive mana accumulation and focus amplification buffs. Though its stat boosts are modest, its ability to accommodate multiple users makes it invaluable. He commands Hun-woo to pack up all the artifacts for transport and keep Haben alive to hand over to the magic tower. Hun-woo realizes Baek-hoon spared Haben specifically to build political goodwill with the magic tower. He is amazed by the young master's strategic foresight, realizing the rumors completely understated his genius. Completing the quest yields 200 points just as Seona knocks on Baek-hoon's door back at the estate. She gasps seeing a pile of completed skill manuals, and Baek-hoon hands her a gift from the loot. When she hesitates to accept such a valuable item, Baek-hoon bluntly tells her it can only be used by women anyway. He orders her to drop the modest act and take it before he burns it, making her smile with joy. Pretending ignorance, he holds up the magic training circle scroll and asks how it works. Seona identifies it as a high-tier consumable artifact rather than a skill book. She offers to install it for him, explaining it only requires a one-time mana injection. Though installing it drains her mana significantly, it creates a permanent training field. Baek-hoon invites her to use the circle whenever he isn't training, which she happily accepts. Choi Sung-min enters to report that representatives from the Magic Tower will arrive tomorrow. He adds that Baek-hoon's ex-fiancée is part of the delegation, sending Seona into a protective posture. Baek-hoon tells Seona to calm down, cursing internally as he anticipates the upcoming encounter. He reflects that Jin Seo-yeon is the game's second protagonist alongside An Chang-woo, born with absurd S-rank and A-rank traits. If her story event fails, she turns evil and gains enough power to wipe Korea off the map. He finds it absurd that such a dangerous monster was original Baek-hoon's fiancée. He realizes the live world contains hidden setting changes he never encountered in the game. Unlike a video game, he cannot restart if he dies here. His survival against Sim Bo-yoon proved that game logic applies, but unexpected variables remain lethal. Uncertain of how many new mechanics were patched into this reality, he assures Sung-min that everything is fine. He wraps up the discussion, ordering everyone to rest and prepare for tomorrow's crucial meeting. Alone, he analyzes his priorities, unpredictable lore shifts like his relation to Jin Seo-yeon, and missing meta information. He knows that clearing the game as Jo Baek-hoon is his best chance to return to his original body. To survive and reach the end, gathering information is paramount. The next day, Jo Hun-yeon sighs while Jeon Jae-bin informs her the patriarch is training in the basement. She wonders why the future Magic Tower Master is bothering to visit a remote location like Mount Seorak. Baek-hoon greets his sister Hun Yeon, who notes with annoyance that Seona chose to become his personal instructor. Baek-hoon smirks, noting people easily change their minds, which visibly irks Hun Yeon. The magic transport circle activates, and Baek-hoon reminds himself to stay calm and act natural. Jin Seo-yeon steps through the portal, complaining about the dust before exchanging formal greetings with Hun-yeon. After brief pleasantries, Seo-yeon turns her attention directly toward Baek-hoon. He casually addresses her as Seo-yeon, prompting her to give him a cold, puzzled glare. Panicking internally, he tries calling her Noana, only making her mood worse. Seona mentions the two used to be close before a fallout, while Hun-yeon looks on. Seona suggests the elder physician Ho Hong-won treat his memory loss, while Baek-hoon screams internally at her interference. Deciding to take control of the conversation, he asks Seo-yeon about her goal to cultivate cold attribute mana on Mount Seorak. Realizing she needs a guide to the coldest peak, Baek-hoon asks who will escort her. When Hun-yeon hesitates, Baek-hoon immediately volunteers to be her guide. Glad to pass off the chore, Hun-yeon agrees, and Baek-hoon prepares to lead Seo-yeon out immediately. Before leaving, they hand Haben over to the Magic Tower delegation, leaving the rogue begging for mercy. Baek-hoon decides they will depart early the next morning to avoid night monster attacks. He needs to prepare for a hidden event on Mount Seorak that requires the C-rank Friend of Ice Spirits trait. The trait displays a magical emblem on his body, allowing Ice Spirits to recognize him as an ally. He targets the event Tears of the Snow Plains to prevent a catastrophic regional disaster. If left unchecked, the evil spirit of the Snow Tiger will rampagingly destroy nearby cities looking for its lost body. Clearing this challenge will upgrade his system to unlock the achievement system, granting vast point rewards. To unlock the achievement system, he must raise his mastery of the Martial Gods book. The next morning, Seo-yeon shivers in the blizzards, asking if they are ready to march. She questions his oversized pack, but he promises she will understand once they arrive. Navigating the blinding blizzard, Seo-yeon worries about protecting Baek-hoon if monsters attack. The howling wind drowns out her words when she calls out to him. Suddenly, a pack of snow monsters surrounds them, and Seo-yeon instantly unleashes massive offensive spells. Baek-hoon marvels at her overpowered combat output as she wipes out waves of beasts. Together, they annihilate the monster pack along with its alpha leader. Baek-hoon hands her a high-tier mana recovery potion, urging her to rest. Seo-yeon observes him quietly, remarking that he has changed significantly. She notes he used to follow her everywhere but has now grown confident and considerate. He realizes she used to relate to him because both faced immense pressure as heirs to top organizations. Unlike the Sword Saint clan, any talented mage in the Magic Tower can compete for the top seat. Knowing further discussion about their past is dangerous, Baek-hoon swiftly shifts the topic back to the expedition. Seo-yeon wonders internally why the Patriarch claimed Baek-hoon possessed no talent. They arrive at a barren icy clearing, and Seo-yeon's sharp intuition senses strange entities. Small creature figures emerge, arguing whether the humans are hostile. Baek-hoon's Friend of Ice Spirits trait activates, revealing the emblem on his body. The Ice Spirits instantly welcome him as a friend, easing Seo-yeon's suspicion. The spirits explain that dark-armored invaders killed their friend, the Snow Tiger, driving them from their home. They reveal the tiger's soul cannot cross over into the spirit realm. The tiger's lingering grudge turned it into a vengeful spirit trapped inside a nearby cave. They explain that subduing the spirit requires bringing its physical body to the cave. Baek-hoon reveals he brought the tiger's body in his oversized pack, surprising Seo-yeon. Seo-yeon realizes he brought her along specifically to assist with subduing the beast spirit. The spirits guide them to the cave entrance, promising to perform the purification ritual once the spirit is subdued. Inside, the intense demonic chill proves far worse than expected, but Seo-yeon realizes it is the ultimate environment for her mana training. A terrifying roar echoes, releasing bitter cold mana that cuts like steel. Baek-hoon lays out buff scrolls and alchemy recipes to prepare for the boss fight. Seo-yeon is stunned by his advanced preparation and hands him a defensive scroll. Drinking his potion, she feels her mana capacity and recovery rate skyrocket. She realizes his growth in alchemy and martial arts is truly extraordinary. Baek-hoon deploys the manifestation scroll, trapping the spirit within a designated boundary. He activates the setup, preparing to engage the corrupted Snow Tiger spirit. The boss spirit emerges, charging forward with lethal ice attacks. Seo-yeon uses short-range teleportation magic to dodge a deadly frost breath attack. She notes the spirit regenerates rapidly, but Baek-hoon instructs her to keep attacking. Smiling calmly, he assures her that their combined assault is wearing down its core. He explains that the Snow Tiger normally guides lost souls, but now absorbs surrounding energy to fight. Having taken severe damage, the spirit enters Phase 2, summoning corrupted specters. Seo-yeon reacts with disgust as undead wraiths swarm the cavern. Baek-hoon recalls his past game playthroughs, where failing this event caused the boss to slaughter nearby cities. Seo-yeon fires barrage after barrage of flame arrows to keep the specters at bay. Baek-hoon activates a rare sacred magic scroll, unleashing a blinding flash globe. Seo-yeon recognizes the holy artifact given by her father to the Sword Saint, and Baek-hoon jokes he stole it. The holy light acts as deadly poison to the undead spirit, permanently severing its regeneration. With the beast vulnerable, Baek-hoon strikes the final blow, allowing the ice spirits to begin the purification ritual. The spirits surround the Snow Tiger, gently calling its soul back to sanity. the tiger spirit regains its original form, looking around in complete confusion. Baek-hoon approaches, explaining that they aggressively freed him at the request of the ice spirits. Unveiling the physical corpse, Baek-hoon returns his body and the tiger realizes he was slain by dark-armored hunters. The tiger reveals that black-armored poachers ambushed him to steal his newborn cub. He managed to hide his cub inside an ice wall before collapsing from his injuries. Baek-hoon recognizes the poachers as the Treasure Hunters Guild from the main story. The tiger begs Baek-hoon to avenge his death and protect his hidden cub. Baek-hoon promises to deal with the poachers during the upcoming main story event. Grateful for Baek-hoon's kindness, the tiger formally entrusts his newborn cub to him. To aid Baek-hoon, the tiger bestows his life force upon him as a final gift. A system window announces that Baek-hoon absorbed the tiger's life energy, gaining the A-rank Lord of Ice trait. He also unlocks the A-rank Freezing Aura skill, granting total immunity to extreme cold. Seo-yeon watches in awe as Baek-hoon's total mana capacity surges dramatically. The Snow Tiger spirit bids them farewell as it begins fading into the spirit realm. Baek-hoon promises to visit him in the spirit realm together with his cub. Impressed by his promise, the spirits grant Baek-hoon a rare blessing. His trait upgrades to C-rank Guest of the Spirit Realm, granting safe passage to the spirit plane. Baek-hoon notes the massive utility of this trait for future high-level quests. The spirits depart with the tiger's soul, leaving Baek-hoon to retrieve the hidden cub from the ice wall. Finding the injured cub, Seo-yeon worries, but Baek-hoon uses high-grade medicine to heal it. Seo-yeon notes his impressive medical skills as he carefully treats the cub's wounds. Relieved, she curses the heartless poachers who hurt such an adorable creature. Baek-hoon explains that the treasure hunters plunder relics and spirit beasts worldwide. He knows their upcoming incident will trigger the game's first major large-scale event. With his initial goal complete, he turns to Seo-yeon to fulfill his promise regarding her mana training. The lingering ice mana in the cave creates the ultimate training sanctuary for her. Gushing over the cute cub, Seo-yeon blushes and agrees to stay and cultivate her mana for 3 days while Baek-hoon guards her. Baek-hoon reflects on how top mages utilize unique mana breathing techniques to build their reserves. He knows Seo-yeon's prodigy status stems from mastering the ultimate mana breathing technique. He opens his system status window to review his upgraded stats: Strength 42, Agility 47, Endurance 45, and Mana 2000. His traits now include rank Celestial Martial Physique, C-rank Energizer, C-rank Guest of the Spirit Realm, and A-rank Lord of Ice. His stat boosts place him on the fast track to becoming an A-rank powerhouse. He feels confident he can surpass B+ rank before Tae-ran returns, though he knows future game bosses will require even greater strength. Power scaling in Hero's Road accelerates rapidly, requiring immense preparation for mid-game threats. After 3 days of peaceful guard duty, Baek-hoon feels Seo-yeon complete her mana absorption. She thanks him for protecting her, amazed at how much pure ice mana she successfully absorbed. He marvels at her monstrously inflated statistics as the tiger cub wakes up beside them. The cub steps off Baek-hoon and begins roaring toward the cavern exit. Baek-hoon gently comforts the cub, promising to help him grow strong and visit his mother in the spirit realm. Seo-yeon watches the crying cub, asking if losing family is truly a sad feeling. He reflects that like the Sword Saint clan, the Magic Tower breeds ruthless family rivalries devoid of love. He confirms that losing family is deeply painful, and they return together to the Sword Saint clan estate. Upon arrival, Choi Sung-min greets them, mistakenly asking if Baek-hoon gained weight around his waist. Baek-hoon unzips his coat to reveal the cub, sending Youngmin to a panic over stealing a wild spirit tiger. Seo-yeon decides to stay 3 extra days at the estate to help care for the tiger cub. Baek-hoon suffers from sleepless nights because the mythical tiger cub is strictly nocturnal. Ho Hong-won heals the cub completely, naming him Seo-yeon, which the intelligent mythical beast instantly learns. Baek-hoon plays with the rebellious cub until Sung-min arrives with an important update. Sung-min reports that they located the target individual in Busan exactly where Baek-hoon predicted. In the Busan slums, loan shark thugs kick down the door of a young hunter named Sun Jaeon-seep. The heavy lead thug breaks inside, dismissing Jaeon-seep's protests about illegal breaking and entering. The thug demands repayment for a debt left behind by Jeon-seep's deceased father. Jeon-seep protests that he is only an F-rank hunter who cannot clear dangerous dungeons to pay off high interest. The loan shark demands he raid dungeons anyway or face immediate violent execution. Jeon-seep tells them to just kill him, but Siona suddenly steps into the room, watching them silently. The thugs freeze as Jo Baek-hoon steps in behind her, mocking their complete lack of manners for breaking down doors. When told Jeon-seep owes 2.07 billion won due to exorbitant interest, Baek-hoon offers to settle the debt. Jeon-seep gasps at the inflated total, but Baek-hoon calmly offers the loan sharks 2 choices. Option 1 is to take the original 500 million principal and walk away, while option 2 is to leave empty-handed after a beating. The arrogant boss throws a cigarette butt at Baek-hoon, refusing to walk away without his interest. Siona steps forward with a terrifying expression, calling them scum for disrespecting the young master before chasing them out. Baek-hoon tells her that she should hunt them down alongside the clan members. Once they locate her inside the office, they will eliminate her and return the stolen funds to the victims. Completely bewildered, he asks what on earth is happening. Baek-hoon asks if he is the hunter Sun Jeon-seok and inquires if he is injured. He thanks him but asks who he is. Baek-hoon explains that he has owed his father a favor since childhood, as his father saved his life back then. Sun Jeon-seok asks if his father really did that. Baek-hoon confirms it, stating he wanted to repay the favor, so he searched around until he arrived here. He asks if he happens to know where his father is, but Sun Jeon-seok replies that he has no idea and frankly does not care, emphasizing something more urgent. He warns that he should leave before they return, but Baek-hoon cuts him off, telling him not to worry. His men are taking care of it, so those loan sharks will never bother him again. As he searches inside his coat, he remarks on how much help he has received. He expresses a desire to return the favor, but Baek-hoon declines, calling this his own way of repaying his father. Sun Jeon-seok insists that he cannot accept that without giving something back. He asks him to take an item his father gave him as a child, suggesting it would be better off in his hands. With a subtle smile, Baek-hoon says he will gladly accept it, thinking to himself that it was a mission accomplished. Seona then reports that they eliminated those loan sharks as ordered. She notes that they were wretched people with numerous victims. However, none of them were hunters capable of testing the magical skill he granted her, as they all panicked before she could even deploy it. Baek-hoon reassures her that she will surely have a chance to use it soon and tells her not to be discouraged, to which Seona agrees. She remarks that she has never seen him wear a necklace before and notices him touching it, asking if it is special. Baek-hoon explains that it is no ordinary necklace. It is embedded with high-level sealing magic. He adds that if he seeks another favor after everything on Seorak Mountain, he should visit the magic tower afterward, as he has a request for him. Somewhat surprised, Baek-hoon asks if the favors from that incident and agrees to visit later. Seo Yeon tells him that she will break the sealing spell and asks him to wait a moment. Surprised, Seona asks if it is an artifact. It is the Watchman's Eye, a monocle once used by the Emperor's servant to observe the populace. It grants the user detailed information about a target. The ability, Watchman's Gaze, allows the wielder to inspect the target status window. With a strange smile, Baek-hoon thinks this is the perfect artifact to start with. In Hero's Road, many artifacts surpass regular items, possessing irreversible effects once activated. They can only be obtained in rare dungeons, ruins, and special events, making them extremely difficult to acquire. Artifacts fall into three categories based on usage: conditional artifacts, single-use artifacts, and permanent artifacts. Single-use artifacts include the one Bo-yoon used while pursuing him. Finally, there are bound artifacts that link to the user permanently. Having activated the Watchman's Eye, the artifact binds to him, enabling Watchman's Gaze at any time. Baek-hoon decides to test it immediately. Upon viewing Seo Yeon's status window, he is stunned. Jin Seo Yeon possesses C-rank strength, C-rank agility, C-rank stamina, A+ rank mana, the S-rank unique ability Master of the Magic Tower, and S-rank traits such as Magic Genius, S-rank mana blessing, innate serenity, and more. Noticing his unusual reaction, Seona asks if he is alright. He assures her he is fine. Internally, he reflects that he had never seen Seo Yeon's stats at this stage of the game. Though he could only guess before, her baseline is far superior to his expectations. Starting from this baseline, she will soon grow into an absolute monster. If he fails to prevent the Magic Tower collapse event, he will eventually have to face a fallen Seo Yeon. He must stop that outcome, which means he must grow stronger rapidly. While events closely mirror the game, unpredictable shifts have occurred, such as Great Master Ha Yeon hurling mana spheres at him and Seo Yeon being Jo Baek-hoon's fiancée. To overcome the upcoming trials, he needs to power up as fast as possible. His progress so far is decent, but he must accelerate it. He plans to venture to that specific location to trace the remnants of the martial god and unlock the achievement system. He expects Moak to summon him shortly, and just as the thought crosses his mind, a servant informs him that Patriarch Moak is calling for him. Jo Moak notes that everyone has gathered and turns to Kang Ho, mentioning that he heard the doctor healed all his injuries. He questions why he remains cooped up in his room, asking what good the healing did if his skills have not improved at all. Mocking him internally, Baek-hoon thinks that the first step to gaining strength is accepting one's own weakness, and hiding in a room is merely running away from reality. Moak grants him one final chance. Calling for Ha-yeon, he presses a button and reveals that portals have manifested in the Seorak Mountains. He points out 4 portals in total, each presenting formidable challenges, with portal number 4 being the most dangerous. Baek-hoon observes that the timing and locations align perfectly with the game. These gateways connect to another world. In Hero's Road, portals are categorized into 2 types: release type, where monsters pour out immediately, and entry type, which requires hunters to go inside and clear them from within. Leaving an entry-type portal unattended for too long causes it to spawn monsters like a release type. Furthermore, if uncleared, it enters an awakening phase, significantly empowering the monsters inside. Ha-yeon explains that the 4th portal is the most perilous not only due to its scale, but also because of its location and current state. It spawned inside a dungeon, leaving little time before it awakens. Jo-min realizes that they must clear the portal while simultaneously clearing the dungeon itself. Hun Yaeon contemplates that securing her father's approval requires taking on a release-type portal, but the risk is immense. If clan members under her command perish, her reputation will suffer. Baek-hoon steps forward and volunteers for the fourth portal. Moak acknowledges that it is the most hazardous, asking if he is truly willing to go. Baek-hoon confirms it, stating that the danger only drives his enthusiasm. He believes that in times of crisis, confronting hardship head-on rather than seeking an easy exit is essential preparation for becoming clan leader. Moak commends his spirit and assigns him to the fourth portal. Baek-hoon tells himself that it is time to uncover the traces left by his ancestors. His immediate preparation requires only a few items and a single skill. He prepares the B+ rank skill Berserker, a technique exclusive to battle-crazed warriors. It temporarily boosts physical speed and core statistics, amplifying its effects as the user slays more enemies. However, the user suffers severe side effects once the duration expires. He also needs 2 talented apprentices untainted by Taeran whom he can fully trust. Observing them shivering from the cold, he identifies them as Park Chang-kyun and Cheon Hin-hoo, disciples under Great Master Ha Yeon. Both possess sufficient talent to become high-tier hunters upon completing their training. Baek-hoon assumes they feel the cold because they are still trainees, warning them to keep up lest they lose sight of him and die. Seona indicates that they have arrived, while Baek-hoon notices the abyss is deeper than expected. Cheon Min-hoo remarks on the immense depth after descending for a long time, marveling that such a place exists within the Seorak Mountains. Park Chang-kyun notes that it is surprisingly beautiful for a dungeon. Seona senses an eerie stillness. Baek-hoon explains that the clan located this area using a portal detector without sending an advance party. Pointing at the walls, he highlights dried bloodstains, confirming a clash between portal monsters and native dungeon beasts. Yet, no corpses remain. He asks Seona if she knows why, and she correctly guesses the presence of poison mantises. Praising her knowledge, Baek-hoon asks Park Chang-kyun what he knows about them. Nervous, the apprentice recalls learning from Great Master Ha Yeon that the poison mantis is an apex predator among monsters. When it senses prey, it devours it entirely, leaving no trace. It features deadly traits like a reinforced mantis frame, a venomous tail, and sharp senses, but its greatest danger lies in its pack behavior. Spotting one guarantees dozens more lurk nearby, which is why even veteran hunters avoid them. If encountered, the rule is to flee immediately. Remembering that instruction, the apprentices shudder, realizing how perilous this mission is. Baek-hoon asks if they brought the rope. Confused, they confirm they did, prompting him to reveal his plan with a smirk. He explains that deep within these dark, jagged cliffs, poison mantises hide. Because their eyesight is poor, they rely on smell to distinguish prey from kin. Therefore, the team will disguise themselves using the creature's bodily fluids. First, they will sever the mantis's front scythes and tails, neutralizing their primary weapons. The moment a mantis shrieks to alert the swarm, they will strike its head. Then, Seona, who possesses the highest mana reserve, will activate a silent scroll to suppress the sound. They will repeat this process until they collect 10 corpses. Park Chang-kyun notes that the scroll lasts 5 minutes, while Seona asks if the plan will hold up. Baek-hoon reassures her that he has a contingency plan if things go awry. He reminds them that he brought extra supplies, so they do not need to worry about flawless execution. Seona admires how prepared the young master is for any monster encounter, recognizing his vast knowledge, skill, and tactical foresight. Noticing the silent scroll fading, Jo Baek-hoon instructs everyone to cover their ears. Unfurling a sound amplification scroll, he mockingly invites the monsters to scream all they want. Watching dozens of mantises swarm forward, Baek-hoon welcomes them. Seeing the dense cluster of monsters, he orders his team to unleash everything they have. To execute his trap against the poison mantises, they douse the swarm in specially formulated oil. Even if it does not coat every single monster, a small spark will suffice, as the creatures will spread the flames to one another. Standing among the smoldering ash shortly after, he notes that only the queen remains, currently distracted guarding her eggs. Recognizing the perfect opening, Baek-hoon tells Seona to unleash her unique ability. She warns him that she has not fully mastered it yet, meaning its use will temporarily deplete her fighting capacity. Baek-hoon assures her it is fine, as this is the final target. Seona's unique ability is Spirit Sword Art, which manifests multiple ethereal blades forged from spiritual energy to attack enemies. Although it drains immense mana and has a brief duration that leaves her exhausted, activating it grants her power comparable to an S-rank hunter. Park Chang-kyun gasps as she slays the massive queen instantly, noting it is his first time witnessing her unique ability. Baek-hoon praises her performance and smiles at something in the distance. He checks if she is alright, and she replies she is merely fatigued. Relieved, Baek-hoon bids her to rest as he approaches what resembles an ancient altar. He bites his finger, letting blood drip onto the stone. The alarmed apprentices warn him it is dangerous. The altar prompts him to take the trial, and with a grin, he accepts, telling his party he will be right back. The trial grounds of the martial god appear, a domain forged to test potential successors. Overcoming the trial yields memories of the past and a reward of 500 points. Shadow entities declare themselves followers of the martial god, initiating the test. Baek-hoon complies, recognizing these foes as shadow martial artists. These persistent entities resurrect continuously. The martial god's intent was to test how a successor handles overwhelming numbers, though the sheer quantity remains disgusting. Fighting the horde head-on is a rookie mistake. Since the shadow warriors are constructs, a specific trick exists. Locating his true target, Baek-hoon realizes the mechanics match the game precisely. Slaying the main body immediately clears the trial. Preparing for the next stage, he activates Berserker and goads the shadows to attack. He needs to stack Berserker bonuses. The B+ rank skill enhances all attributes for 5 minutes, strengthening and refreshing its timer with every kill. Charging into the horde, he notes that while illusionary clones normally do not yield Berserker stacks, these shadow entities possess physical forms. Because they are corporeal, buff triggers apply to them. Slaying them repeatedly allows him to max out his stacks, bringing a confident smile to his face. Fully stacked Berserker is an overpowered buff that raises all stats by a tier, albeit briefly. Deciding to wrap things up, he unleashes a freezing aura centered on himself. Knowing he must act fast before the buff expires, Jo Baek-hoon declares playtime over. He moves to claim the relics left by his ancestor. A guardian entity welcomes him as the rightful heir, asking how much time has passed in the outside world. Baek-hoon answers that while he cannot speak for the domain, the current year outside is 2035. Surprised, the entity remarks on how long it has been. Given its location deep within the Seorak Mountains, Baek-hoon points out how unlikely it was for anyone to find it. The entity introduces himself as notoriously, challenging him to prove his worth if he wishes to inherit the martial god's legacy. Baek-hoon prepares himself, assessing that notoriousy's stats equal those of a top-tier hunter. Even knowing his attack patterns, notorious is a formidable foe. Baek-hoon must utilize every tactic to force him into his second phase while the Berserker buff remains active. Anticipating an attack from the right, Baek-hoon blocks it with key reinforcement, surprising notorious. Utilizing Phantom Shadow Steps, Baek-hoon keeps moving, aware of notoriousy's dual phases. The first phase merely tests the challenger's strength. Once Baek-hoon proves his capability, notorious transitions to the second phase, just as Baek-hoon's Berserker buff wears off. Having dealt sufficient damage to trigger the phase shift, Baek-hoon readies himself for the real battle, where dodging will become far more difficult. Notorious expresses genuine impression, yet claims it is not enough to defeat him. As notorious readies his stance, he summons the Gunly Lightning Spear, a weapon claimed from a calamity that once devastated a nation. He unleashes thunderous energy, forcing Baek-hoon onto the defensive. Notorious taunts him for retreating, reminding him that he cannot leave until one of them falls. Baek-hoon remarks on his overwhelming strength, while notorious calls his evasive tactics pathetic for a successor of the martial god. Baek-hoon retorts that notorious is simply throwing his spear recklessly. Angered, notorious declares he will end the fight here and now. Recognizing the deadly Lightning Dragon hand strike, Baek-hoon gathers all his remaining mana to execute his counter technique. Stunned, notorious realizes Baek-hoon is executing a reversal strike against his ultimate technique. Baek-hoon successfully redirects the Lightning Dragon back at notorious, leaving the Guardian frozen in shock. Notorious concedes defeat with a chuckle, acknowledging that Baek-hoon passed the trial. Baek-hoon claims his reward. The Lightning Spear, an A-rank weapon originally granted by a deity to an otherworldly hero, allowing full control over lightning. Its rank has degraded from neglect, but can be restored through a special event. Its options include lightning infusion, lightning resistance, and automatic return. It consumes mana to coat the blade in electricity, boosting elemental damage while enabling the spear to return to its wielder when thrown. Baek-hoon decides to worry about restoring its rank later. Searching the chamber, he uncovers a dusty manual, the B+ rank Dragonfang Spear Technique, a destructive martial art created by the ancient martial god. It features moves like Spiral Thrust, 9 Dragon Fangs, and Lightning Dragon. The ultimate form, Lightning Dragon, requires the wielder to possess the lightning spear to channel divine thunder into a devastating projectile. Mastering the manual elevates the technique rank and unlocks new abilities. The system logs the martial art into the Book of the Martial God. System notifications confirm that progressing the Dragonfang Spear Technique unlocks additional skills. Baek-hoon reflects that obtaining the spear was only part of his goal. By discovering the martial god's legacy, the Book of the Martial God ranks up, unlocking its achievement system to award bonus points for major feats. Satisfied with his gains, he prepares to exit before exhaustion takes over. The manual also reveals clues regarding the location of the Clear Skies technique. Baek-hoon resolves to track it down after securing the Pocket Realm artifact. Outside, the waiting party worries for his safety, though Siona assures them of his strength. Despite her words, a full day has passed. Fully recovered, she attempts to prick her finger on the altar, but nothing happens. Baek-hoon emerges exhausted, telling them to return home immediately. 3 days later at the Sword Saint clan estate, The atmosphere turns grim. Jo Moak reprimands Jo Kang-ho, pointing out that every other candidate successfully cleared their designated portal except him. As Kang-ho stammers, Moak commands him to remain silent and demands the truth from his instructor. The instructor explains that Kang-ho rushed recklessly into the portal without adequate preparation. Moak cuts her off, refusing to hear further excuses. He revokes Kang-ho's assignment to represent the clan at the upcoming conference next week. Instead, Jo Baek-hoon will attend in his place. Outraged, Kang-ho protests that Tae-ran entrusted that duty to him, arguing that Baek-hoon cannot simply take over. Moak sternly reminds him that the clan leader does not require Tae-ran's permission. Desperate, Kang-ho pleads as guards step forward to escort him back to his quarters. Jo-min observes the shift, realizing Kang-ho is ruined. Hun-yeon watches silently with a serious expression, while Baek-hoon looks on calmly. Baek-hoon knows Kang-ho's failure extends beyond missing a conference. His impatience cost the lives of numerous apprentices and instructors under his command. By leading his subordinates to slaughter, Kang-ho stripped himself of core support within the clan. He has incurred Moak's wrath and lost Tae-ran's backing, effectively destroying his standing in the succession race. Moak officially appoints Baek-hoon to represent the clan at the conference and dismisses the meeting. Checking his status window, Baek-hoon notes a significant increase in his stamina. His attributes grow rapidly when facing superior foes. With a month remaining before Tae-ran's return, this steady growth is vital. He plans to train intensely after retrieving the remaining artifacts, knowing the post-conference period will leave him with little free time. Later, Choi Sung-min knocks on his door to offer breakfast, shocked to find Baek-hoon exhausted amidst a room cluttered with training gear. Baek-hoon asks if the helicopter he requested is ready, intending to depart immediately after eating curry. Sung-min confirms it is prepared, but asks why he needs to travel to White Mountain Island. Arriving at the deserted island with Seona, she remarks that the location appears entirely uninhabited. Baek-hoon points out hidden ancient ruins. Surprised, Seona wonders how such structures could exist here unnoticed, while Baek-hoon instructs her to examine the ancient symbols on the stone doors. She identifies the flora growing around the sealed entrance as otherworldly plants, marveling that the door has remained sealed for centuries. She notes that opening it would require immense strength. Baek-hoon draws his lightning spear, prompting Seona to ask if that is the weapon he acquired from the previous dungeon. He confirms it and thrusts the blade through a gap in the stone structure, reaching inside to claim the Pocket Realm Monster artifact. This artificial organism creates an isolated pocket dimension, granting its master the ability to store and retrieve items at will. Seona recoils as a strange maw manifests and swallows his spear, only for the creature to regurgitate it intact. Baek-hoon tells her not to panic, explaining that this artifact provides the ultimate mobile inventory for a warrior who needs to swap weapons depending on the battlefield. Amazed, Seona asks how he knew this artifact was hidden here. Baek-hoon claims he read about unmapped ruins on this island in an ancient text. Searching deeper inside the ruins, Seona discovers an ancient blueprint for golem construction. Baek-hoon inspects the complex schematics, deciding to store it for Jin Seo-yeon, who can make far better use of it than a clan of swordsmen. Seona jokingly asks if he still holds feelings for her, which he quickly dismisses. A mission notification pops up, granting him the Relic Hunter achievement and 300 points for being the first to recover artifacts from the ruins. Satisfied, he asks Seona if the helicopter has enough fuel to make an extra stop at sea. He hands her an underwater breathing scroll, explaining that it allows them to explore an underwater site where treasure hunters were previously active. Surprised, Seona asks if he intends to dive into the ocean. Baek-hoon grabs her hand and leaps into the water before she can object. Submerged, Seona opens her eyes to behold the stunning undersea landscape. Baek-hoon leads her toward an ancient sunken altar. He points out scattered monster bones and sword marks on the seabed, proving a major battle took place here. The empty pedestal indicates that whatever the monsters were guarding has already been stolen. Seona guesses that treasure hunters cleared the lair and took the artifact. Baek-hoon confirms her suspicion and prepares to return to the surface. Seona wonders what kind of item could warrant such a perilous dive. Baek-hoon knows the stolen item is the Cauldron of the Demon God, the catalyst for the upcoming crisis known as the Great Invasion, where demonic forces will pour into Seoul. The stolen cauldron generates interdimensional portals. If the invasion is not repelled, Seoul will fall to ruin. Preventing the theft entirely was impossible, as intervening prematurely would only disrupt his knowledge of the timeline. Furthermore, clearing the ocean dungeon directly was unfeasible due to the weakened seal empowering the aquatic beasts. The treasure hunters succeeded only by using specialized tools to suppress the monsters, relying heavily on seamless coordination. Though their leader is clever, the catastrophe itself remains inevitable. However, Baek-hoon completes his endurance training mission, earning 100 bonus points. Knowing the thieves will remain in Seoul for roughly a month, he resolves to deal with them right after the conference. With 6 days remaining, he devotes all his time to intense training, climbing Seorak Mountain, refining his stamina, minimizing sleep to cultivate, and engaging in non-stop duels. The Book of the Martial God issues numerous duel-related quests. Rumors of his victory over Seona spread across the clan, drawing countless challengers. Annoyed by the endless line of opponents, Baek-hoon tells them to challenge him all at once. Outraged by his arrogance, the challengers claim he only beat Kang-ho because he held back. Baek-hoon taunts them into attacking simultaneously and swiftly defeats all 9, completing his quest. With his point balance reaching 1,570, an exhausted Baek-hoon spends 500 points to purchase the A-rank skill King's Dignity. Acquiring King's Dignity grants him an additional sub-skill called Overwhelm. King's Dignity instills natural authority, inspiring fierce loyalty in allies, while demoralizing foes. Overwhelm radiates innate pressure to paralyze enemies with fear. On the day of the conference, Baek-hoon sighs as attendants prepare his formal attire. At the sole branch of the Sword Saint clan, Seona observes him, sensing a dramatic shift in his presence. Choi Sung-min presents an extravagant outfit retrieved from the vault, claiming it exudes perfect charisma. Baek-hoon rejects the flashy attire, requesting a sleek black suit instead. Sung-min agrees and offers a refined coat-style fit for a northern duke. Seona mutters that Sung-min's fashion sense is atrocious. Baek-hoon selects the black suit, while Seona notes how much more imposing he feels today. Seung-min enthusiastically agrees, stating he notices the young master's growing aura every single day. Seona dismisses Sung-min's rambling, wondering if she is simply overthinking Baek-hoon's transformation. Reviewing his upgraded skills, Baek-hoon smiles with satisfaction and gathers his entourage to depart. As attendants make final adjustments to his suit, Baek-hoon tells them to make the styling bold and commanding. He steps out onto the terrace to gather his thoughts, knowing that securing his position as heir requires conquering many more obstacles. Taeran's impending return is a major threat, but his eldest sister Hunyeon is equally dangerous. Jo Hunyeon approaches him, remarking on his sharp attire. She admits she initially dismissed his chances in the Succession War, but his recent achievements have proven her wrong. He has displayed hidden talents and earned their father's recognition. Baek-hoon reflects that Moak's watchful eyes confirm his rising status in the clan. Hunyeon asks if he truly intends to claim the clan leadership, suggesting an alliance between them to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Baek-hoon declines her offer. He recalls that Hunyeon was deeply attached to their late brother Jo Han-min and entered the succession struggle solely to avenge his murder by Taeran. To secure her support, he merely needs to expose Taeran's crime. He wonders if Sim Bo-yoon is still alive to serve as evidence. At the Florida Hotel in Namsan, elite figures gather for the conference. Yoon Song-ha greets Do Chang-woo, who responds coldly, noting they are not close enough for casual greetings. Another heir interrupts their banter as reporters flash cameras. The crowd stirs as the sleek vehicle of the Sword Saint clan arrives. Expectant onlookers wonder if Taeran has arrived, only to see Baek-hoon step out alongside Seona. The paparazzi whisper in confusion, realizing this newcomer is replacing Kang-ho. Baek-hoon leads Seona inside, ignoring the murmuring crowd. Seona scans the hall, noting the absence of immediate threats. An usher guides them into the main banquet hall, confirming that key guild representatives have already arrived. Guests turn their attention toward Baek-hoon, captivated by his commanding aura. Seona flushes slightly under the intense gazes of the crowd, while Baek-hoon realizes his King's Dignity skill is passively drawing admiration. He notes that while the attention can be inconvenient, the psychological advantage is immense. Yoon Song-ha approaches Baek-hoon, greeting him warmly after a long time. Song-ha remarks on how healthy and robust Baek-hoon looks compared to the past. Baek-hoon identifies him as the greedy heir of the Volcanus Blacksmith Guild, a cunning individual obsessed with profit. Song-ha urges Baek-hoon to sell any rare materials to him first, prompting Chang-woo to tell him to lay off the sales pitches. Chang-woo questions Song-ha's recent dealings with the Golden Lion Guild, causing Song-ha to back off awkwardly. Baek-hoon assesses Chang-woo as the pragmatic heir of the Myeongsa Group, a cold yet perceptive individual who values mutual benefit. Chang-woo hands Baek-hoon his contact card, offering assistance if needed. Baek-hoon accepts, knowing Chang-woo's influence will be crucial during the upcoming crisis. Seona enjoys the banquet food while Baek-hoon advises her to eat in moderation. Suddenly, Sun Tae-yoon, the arrogant heir of the Golden Lion Guild, approaches with a condescending sneer. Tae-yoon mocks Baek-hoon as the discarded cripple of the Sword Saint clan, asking how a useless outcast managed to attend such an elite gathering. Baek-hoon remains completely unbothered by the reckless insults, well aware of Tae-yoon's foolish nature. Seona, however, grips her blade in anger, barely suppressing the urge to strike him down. Song-ha steps in to reprimand Tae-yoon for his disgraceful behavior. Tae-yoon snaps at Song-ha, warning her not to act like his elder sister simply because his father took her in as a stray. Before the argument escalates, an announcement signals the arrival of a major guest. Tae-yoon excuses himself to present a gift, while Song-ha apologizes to Baek-hoon for the outburst. Baek-hoon brushes it off reassuringly, keeping Seona from drawing her sword. He praises Song-ha's reputation as a formidable magic swordswoman within the Golden Lion Guild. He inquires about the guildmaster's failing health, and Song-ha reveals her adoptive father remains hospitalized. Baek-hoon offers sincere condolences, knowing internally that the guild master is afflicted by a fatal curse destined to kill him. Song-ha thanks him and head toward the conference hall. Seona notes that Song-ha possesses true dignity compared to Tae-yoon. The crowd suddenly falls silent as Jin Seo-yeon makes her entrance. Tae-yoon pestering her with a lavish ocean treasure gift, but Seo-yeon coldly rejects his advances. Spotting Baek-hoon, Seo-yeon grabs his arm and pulls him away from Tae-yoon. Tae-yoon glares in disbelief as Seo-yeon leads Baek-hoon into a private hallway. Seo-yeon explains that Tae-yoon has been relentlessly trying to curry favor with her father, asking Baek-hoon to play along. Acknowledging her past assistance, Baek-hoon retrieves the golem schematic from his pocket space. He gifts her the blueprint, and Seo-yeon marvels at the intricate method for golem creation. Baek-hoon requests that she mass-produce these golems within 3 weeks to prepare for upcoming threats. Seo-yeon agrees, securing the rights to keep the blueprint within her magic tower. A guild official informs them that the main conference is about to begin. Inside the hall, Tae-yoon complains about the tedious meeting, suggesting their generation abolish it. Seona disgustedly observes Tae-yoon's incompetence, contrasting him with the capable Song-ha. Baek-hoon explains to Seona that the rift between Tae-yoon and Song-ha stems from constant childhood comparison by the guildmaster. He notes that once the guildmaster passes, Tae-yoon will oust Song-ha, creating an opportunity for Baek-hoon to recruit her. Chae Jong-hoon of the Hunters Association opens the conference, introducing himself to the assembled heirs. Tae-yoon rudely interrupts, demanding to end the meeting early if there are no major agenda items. Jong-hoon clarifies that an urgent matter was submitted by a guild leader who just arrived. Ryu Il-wo, leader of the Crimson Crusade Guild, enters still wearing battle-worn armor from clearing a release-type portal. Il-wo presents data on an unprecedented portal phenomenon recently discovered in a dense forest. He explains that the surrounding forest is turning black and driving nearby life forms violently insane. Baek-hoon recognizes this as corruption caused by demonic energy. Il-wo requests joint assistance from the major guilds to conquer the portal. Tae-yoon dismisses the threat as minor, mocking the request for help. Baek-hoon raises his hand and pledges the support of the Sword Saint clan, earning Il-wo's gratitude. Tae-yoon mocks the alliance between the Crimson Crusade Paladins and the Sword Saint clan outcast. He suggests sending Baek-hoon and Il-wo as a vanguard while the rest stay behind. Other heirs hesitate, but Seo-yeon steps forward, declaring her full support alongside Baek-hoon. Seo-yeon sharply ridicules Tae-yoon's cowardice, leaving him flustered. Baek-hoon smiles, activating his aura to take complete control of the meeting. He realizes that if Tae-yoon controls the narrative, the raid proposal will be rejected, leading to Il-wo's death and massive casualties during the Great Invasion. Taking charge now is vital to survival. Baek-hoon projects the overwhelming pressure of King's dignity, suppressing the room. Shaken by the immense aura, Tae-yoon falls silent as Song-ha forces him back into his seat. Baek-hoon addresses Il-wo directly, offering vital intelligence regarding the portal. He reveals that ancient records within the Sword Saint clan describe a monster that turns surrounding flora black upon emergence. He identifies the threat as a true demon, a malicious entity from another realm that emits corrupting energy. Unlike standard monsters, demons are highly intelligent and cast potent curses. Il-wo agrees that the similarities are striking, reinforcing the urgency of the raid. Enraged by Baek-hoon's dominance, Tae-yoon slams the table, accusing him of spreading fear. He demands that Baek-hoon prove his claims by leading the assault team himself. Baek-hoon calmly responds that utilizing the Sword Saint clan's knowledge will minimize casualties for everyone. Tae-yoon questions the reliability of the records, insulting Baek-hoon's authority. With a subtle smile, Baek-hoon asks why he chose to share secret clan intelligence with the assembly. He points out that a fool would hoard such information, but sharing it fosters unity among the guilds. He emphasizes his respect for the conference founder, contrastingly calling out Tae-yoon's utter lack of vision. He publicly exposes Tae-yoon's unworthiness compared to his father, provoking Tae-yoon to threaten violence. Baek-hoon asks if Tae-yoon's conduct represents the official stance of the Golden Lion Guild. He demands a formal apology from Tae-yoon for insulting the Sword Saint clan. Song-ha places a firm hand on Tae-yoon's shoulder, warning him not to tarnish their father's legacy. Humiliated, Tae-yoon stammers an apology and yields his representation rights to Song-ha before storming out. Baek-hoon watches him leave, internally mocking his stupidity. With Tae-yoon gone, Baek-hoon proposes a structured raid plan. An elite strike force will clear the portal while other guilds supply high-grade resources. Relieved not to send personnel, the other guild leaders eagerly agree to supply materials. Baek-hoon demands 20 sacred-imbued weapons from the Volcanus Guild, chuckling at the heavy cost imposed on them. Without Tae-yoon's interference, the assembly swiftly pledges top-tier potions, scrolls, and gear. When some heirs complain about the high costs, Baek-hoon offers them the alternative of joining the frontline assault. Knowing they fear death, he uses pressure to force their full material support. Song-ha requests to join the frontline strike team to make up for Tae-yoon's misconduct. Baek-hoon welcomes her, recognizing that an S-rank hunter will be crucial if a demon commander awaits inside. An S-rank hunter possesses the power to clear A-rank portals single-handedly. Her inclusion guarantees a far smoother expedition. Baek-hoon sets the portal expedition date for 3 days later, and Seona praises his flawless command of the conference. Seona expresses her lingering desire to punch Tae-yoon, calling him far worse than Kang-ho. Baek-hoon smiles, telling her that Tae-yoon will get what he deserves soon enough, inviting her to accompany him on a night errand. Pain Do-hyop approaches Baek-hoon hesitantly to ask a private question. Seona misinterprets her nervous demeanor as a romantic confession, but Do-hyop simply asks how Baek-hoon overcame his sickly physical weakness. She explains that while the Pain family boasts exceptional martial prowess, she was born frail, much like Baek-hoon's former self. Using Watchman's Gaze, Baek-hoon inspects her status. B-rank physical attributes, S-rank late bloomer, S-rank blocked magic meridians, and sword incompetence. He recognizes her as a unique character whose true potential is locked by blocked mana pathways. Despite her lack of sword talent, unblocking her meridians will eventually unlock her immense S-rank potential. Unblocking them is complex, but helping her will secure the absolute loyalty of the Pain family. Baek-hoon sympathizes with her struggle and invites her to visit the Sword Saint clan estate for a treatment solution. Do-hyop gratefully accepts. Later that night, Baek-hoon and Seona arrive at a secretive building in Seoul. Inside, members of the Treasure Hunters criminal syndicate celebrate their recent black market loot. One member, Burbet, anxiously inspects the stolen cauldron of the demon god, sensing an unsettling aura. His comrades brush off his concerns, telling him to enjoy the drinks. Baek-hoon suddenly steps into the room, announcing that the party is over. He identifies the stolen cauldron on the table, relieved to find it undamaged. The thieves draw their weapons, mocking him for invading their hideout alone. Seona steps up beside him, and the thieves recognize the Sword Saint clan uniform in sheer terror. Shortly after, Baek-hoon visits the subterranean torture chambers beneath the Sword Saint estate. He instructs the clan's master interrogator, Aegeon, to extract information from the captured thieves. Aegeon was once a fierce supporter of the late Jo Han-min. Baek-hoon seeks to recruit Aegeon as a loyal ally. A messenger arrives, stating that Patriarch Moak wishes to see him. Moak questions Baek-hoon's bold actions regarding the Red Portal. Baek-hoon defends his decision, stating that building favorable relations with the Hunters Association and other guilds will prove invaluable in the future. Moak notes that he speaks as if he is already the future clan leader. Baek-hoon confidently stands his ground, and Moak dismisses him. After Baek-hoon exits, Moak receives a report regarding the raid on the Treasure Hunters' hideout. His informant confirms that the Treasure Hunters were a secretive black market criminal guild. The informant admits he has no idea how Baek-hoon uncovered their location when clan intelligence failed to find any trace. Moak ponders Baek-hoon's mysterious intelligence network, asking for a full summary of his recent activities. The informant recounts Baek-hoon's excursion up Seorak Mountain with instructor Sim Bo-yoon a month ago. Bo-yoon had attempted to assassinate the sickly Baek-hoon deep in the mountains. However, Baek-hoon returned alive while Bo-yoon vanished entirely, presumed dead. Upon returning, Baek-hoon appeared transformed into a completely different person, surprising Ha-yeon, Seona, and Ho Hong-won. All three instructors now praise him as an overwhelming martial genius. The informant concludes that Baek-hoon must have encountered a miraculous opportunity on the mountain. Moak dismisses the informant, sensing that violent storms will soon engulf the clan. Time passes, and the day of the portal expedition arrives at a nameless mountain in Incheon. Seona confirms the arrival of all requested supplies, potions, and equipment pledged during the conference. Baek-hoon inspects the assembled strike force, including Ryu Ilwo of the Crimson Crusade and Pain Do-hyop. Joining them are Severia from the Magic Tower and Yoon Song-ha of the Golden Lion Guild, completing the vanguard.